Game 7, 103-89. The Golden State Warriors were paced by Buddy Hield's 33 points, 9 three-pointers. In Game 1 of the second round of Eastern Conference playoffs, Indiana snuck up and beat Cleveland in Cleveland, 121-112. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, how we doing? Happy Monday. It's the Morning Huddle on 94.1. What are you laughing at, Vic? It's gonna be a good day, Bubba.
I gotta go to the restroom already.
What? It's 6:01.
There's all that steak yesterday afternoon.
What the?
Your Sunday afternoon sirloins coming back at you.
It just literally got me right now.
There it is.
Terrible.
All the fans are on in the back.
Yeah, if we sound like we're on
in an echo chamber,
on a prop plane somewhere. There we go.
Yeah, we're broadcasting
live over somewhere over the South Pacific.
Yeah, we might have to.
We're gonna chase those Japs all the way across the ocean.
We might have to turn that off and then turn it on during the breaks.
Hold on, let me think.
Well, it sounds pretty rough.
I like that. It sounds like we're like Humphrey Bogart on like the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah. In a just
that
go
one's
ahead.
pointless. But are you sure you want to do this?
I mean,
Dude, it's about it. That's better. That's better. But the thing is, because we're in a building that has rather frequent air conditioning issues.
yes.
We have a room full of portable air conditioners. There's probably 15 in there. Maybe fewer than that. But I would say 10 would be healthy. I bet there's 6 or 7 right now sitting in that room. Of the one that we got doesn't work.
What?
This is the only it doesn't put out cold air. But because you have to attach it to something that I probably could do, I'm just not going to do it.
It's not your job to do that.
Well, it should be because we should turn it off. But it's going to be. When we walked in our studio this morning, it was well above 85.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and
Where we at now?
anytime I walk in and I see the door propped open, I go, "Oh, great."
And
Fans.
garbage cans in the hall.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, this little area had been sealed up since Friday afternoon, so it had been cooking. Oh, you can feel even the walls are hot.
Well,
The desk is hot.
Hopefully-
Seat's hot.
hopefully, you know what? We'll make sure we bitch about it multiple times today.
Yeah, you don't want the talent to get all sweaty and bothered early in the
I'll make sure I mention it on my way out to
We'll let everybody know.
the suit that. Yeah, I could have done a better show today if
Don't even talk to us. Don't even talk to us.
if I was even if I was alive. I don't know if I'm even alive right now.
A little
Very
moist.
sensitive.
I'm moist.
Very sensitive to the heat.
I don't like it. And I was up way too late, and I'm still mad about what happened on Friday morning.
What are you mad? Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know.
that's going to be a big topic of conversation
we're gonna hit
for
it.
us today.
All weekend long.
The San Antonio Spurs, if you've lived under a rock, maybe, you know what? I shouldn't even say that. I bet there are people who the only time they ever care about sports is when Rob and I are talking about it.
Maybe.
And then they go
I
like,
feel sorry for him, but
I don't.
I do.
Well, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Because we talk
They're
about
woefully uninformed.
we talk about the good stuff
Oh,
only.
Yeah. Well,
Only the best. But right after we got off the air on Friday, the Spurs waited, and then they said, "All right,
couldn't keep it any longer.
Rob and AJ are off the air. Go ahead and release the news
And
that Greg Popovich will no longer coach the San Antonio Spurs."
I find out from a friend of mine that lives 1,000 miles away.
Did you?
I was walking my dog, and I got a friend of mine call. I answer, "Hey man, can you be on in 5 minutes?" Like, sure. For what? I'm down for anything. Pop. What about Pop? So I heard from somebody in a different market.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a couple radio hits this weekend about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is in a year of transition. As much as we knew it was coming, and I knew it was coming from the get-go. I hate to look back, but
I mean, you said as much.
well, I mean, you don't want to be right.
We talked about this. The idea that a guy his age who had a stroke, and you can call it a mild stroke, but it took away a year of his work. It wasn't mild.
Mild strokes happen to other folks. Mild strokes don't happen to me. I have a stroke. It's a real one. It ain't mild, nothing about it.
This dude was never going to go back to flying, 80-something times a year.
And he's not going anywhere. But this is such a, for me personally, my professional life has been intertwined with Pops from the very beginning. It's hard to even fathom. But because of the relationship that Pop has built with the media, none of us feel like we truly know him.
Yeah.
So it's this very different dichotomy of absolute respect and cordiality without the proximity, if you know what I mean. So it's a very strange feeling I have. I feel like I've lost a distant uncle, that I saw every now and again that I absolutely adored. But
even though you talk about him all the time, it's like,
I've probably had over the last 25 years, maybe legitimately 30 conversations with him. That's it. And, and none over the last several. So it's just one of those things. I feel like I've lost a family member, though one I'm not really all that close with, though I'm very familiar with the legend.
Was he salty towards you? Like, was he a
never salty?
Okay.
Always guarded.
Okay,
but never salty.
Okay, well, that's
no. I got lit up more than once in a presser.
Yeah,
but everybody, that was a rite of passage.
Well, I
had to get lit up.
I went on Sirius XM this weekend with a guy who I've known for a long time, and he asked if I'd experienced the wrath of Pop. I was like, no. First of all, I haven't even. I've been here for this year. He hasn't been here all year.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about it today, and as time goes on. But one of the rites of passage in San Antonio was asking a question.
Yeah.
And the pecking order that went into that, and how things worked in the locker room, and how Pop had such absolute control over every minute detail.
I used to, when I was young, I remember I started radio when I was 24. I was the kid asking the ridiculous questions at press conferences, and I took my share of.
Bob didn't suffer fools, and he would not.
Yeah.
And he was never going to be caught in a verbal trap. He was the perfect client for an attorney. There was no. He was only going to answer a very specific question, would not expand on anything, and if he smelled a trap, he was going the other direction. So very difficult interview, but that's part of the glory of Pop.
Sure. Well, we'll talk about that ad nauseum today. It is going to be a big topic for us. We'll also talk about the future of the Spurs beyond Pop, which is, to me, the most frustrating thing about this. You and I have talked a lot about, what we expect, and I think we both expected this to be the case.
The last game of the year, a couple of guys I ran into, one in the organization, one who very closely orbits it, and both of them said, we don't know what's going to go with Pop, but the sense around here is the ship has left the port, and we're not changing captains. This is just what it is. So at least for the next year. And I think it's worthy of discussion today because I think there's a lot of things in play here. And some of the and coaching acumen is only one part of the pie.
Yeah. Well, and also, I've got theories on this we'll discuss as the show goes on. But I think a lot of people would at least have liked the Spurs to just placate us and pretend like you're doing a search.
My retort to that is, how do you know they didn't?
Because there are real candidates
how do you know
that are still involved in playing basketball right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you talk to all the assistants from the Thunder? Did you talk to all the assistants from the Rockets? Did you talk to the current head coach of the Golden State Warriors? The chances are good that they did not, or at least not.
I think the Steve Kerr thing wouldn't have needed an interview. But the others, I think that there was a very short list that they did talk to.
Okay.
I believe, but it was a very short list.
I will give you my theory. You know what? We'll take our first break of the day. I'll give you my theory on the other side about this, but I do have a conspiracy theory. We'll talk about that next. Morning Huddle 94.1.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still have this trouble spot on the northwest side on I-10 on the frontage road eastbound at Wurzbach. It is an accident. Got the right lane blocked. That stall at 151 eastbound Callahan is just cleared. We are in good shape along 35 southbound Schertz Parkway on down to Randolph Boulevard. And 90 eastbound, usually slow, but for now, 211 over to 35, that's in good shape. As we get further into your morning rush hour, that definitely is going to slow down. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
Hi, I'm attorney Steve Benke. If you've made the decision to divorce, you need an experienced attorney who can help. I've helped many people get through divorce, custody, child support, and alimony problems. Call me. I'm attorney Steve Benke.
210-DIVORCE or go to BenkeLaw.com.
At the Institute for Functional Health, we are dedicated to helping you live life fully, playing with your kids, golfing, and feeling great without relying on pills. We're not about treating symptoms temporarily. We're about extending your health span, the years you live in good health. I'm Dr. Torres, and for over a decade, my team has transformed lives by tackling health issues at the root. Tired of medications without real answers? Take control of your health with us. Call 210-468-1891 for a free Discovery Day consultation or visit iffhealth.com. Improve your health span today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Hi! Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, a little Detroit Rock City here.
I'm not allowed to like him because of the politics.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess I could like this one, and I could go, what's the Great White Buffalo?
I hate that I have to
scratch.
You have to factor in politics when you listen to music now.
Right? But I have to, so I don't like him now.
Well, the good thing about me is I hate all politicians.
Well, I don't like any politician tells me how to pray or any preacher tells me how to vote.
That's good line of thinking, Bubba. Good line of thinking. Speaking of, did you see the season finale or the series finale of Righteous Gemstones yet?
I have not, dude.
I was so glad that I was glad that the Warriors-Rockets game ended mercifully in the about halfway through the fourth quarter. I said, "Oh, good. I'm not going to watch the rest of this. I'm going to watch the series finale of the Gemstones."
Uncle Baby Billy.
What a brilliant series that was.
How many penises did you see last night?
0.
What?
Yep, 0 dongs came out last night. But
there's about 8 feet of.
There's a lot in that show.
There's feet,
but there was none last night. But the show is over. It is over.
It's over.
It's a good one though, man. It was a good
John
episode.
Goodman ascend to heaven in his rightful spot.
No. But there was like a moment where I was like, "Oh my God, this is a really dark episode."
That's my fear was they were going to end it with some sort of mass family tragedy.
But they
died in a funny but horrible way.
It is it's a good finish to a great series. HBO always does a good job, but man, that one was particularly good.
I got suckered into that. I forget what's his name? Peaky Blinders dude. Bane.
Tom Hardy.
He's got a movie out on Netflix right now, a body count movie, bad John Wick.
Okay. Is it bad?
Yeah, it's a bad John Wick.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like to see new and interesting ways to be killed.
Okay.
I mean, that's always
Well, it's
fun.
not like John Wick is cinematic brilliance.
No, but just to let you know, it doesn't even measure up
They
to
killed
John
my
Wick.
dog. I have to kill 800 men.
It wasn't quite that contrived, though. John Wick had its own particular idiom. I mean, it was brilliant in its way. This is just kind of lots and lots of dead guys.
Okay.
But
I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it wasn't what I expected, and if it is what you expect, lower those.
All right. So I promised my conspiracy theory on why the Spurs didn't at least have a public search for a new head coach. I think this was part of the negotiation with Greg. I think that there was the Spurs never wanted to tell him you are no longer going to coach the team. I don't know that they would have. I don't know that there's anybody in that building.
That's what I'm saying. When you say negotiate, he ain't negotiating with anybody.
Right.
There's only one person who's going to say that, and that is a very young Holt, who grew up at Pop's knee. He's as far as Pop, he's like his grandfather.
Right.
I mean that's the relationship those guys have had. So this was all
what's the
waiting
power
on Pop.
What's the power dynamic between Pop and R.C. Buford?
I would say partners.
Okay, like 40-60 partners.
I think in the grand scheme, 51-49 Buford. I mean, if you're looking at the org chart, it would be Buford. If anything ever bad was going to happen, it would be Buford delivering the news.
Then it sounds like there is at least one person who could say, hey, man, this is the way it's got to be.
But I will agree. I will agree with you that this could have been the decision. I don't think it was any negotiation to it.
Okay.
I think it could have been a mutually arrived upon decision amongst the old heads, those dudes. But I don't think anything was done where if you'll do this, I'll do that. I don't think there's a quid pro quo here because they would have never been put a Pop in that kind of situation.
Okay. Well, is there a possibility that Pop said, I don't feel comfortable stepping down unless my guy is at the helm?
Absolutely. No, he didn't have to say that. That's a given. So, no, you're right.
Because by putting Mitch in place, Pop isn't coaching the team.
But he's kind of some puppet strings, absolutely.
Kind of coaching the team.
And
which, by the way,
is the best possible scenario if it's not going to be the guys who been talking about. If it's not going to be a head coach from outside of the fence, this is the best possible scenario, at least in that tight circle's mind. On the outside, we've already kind of seen this, and the outcome hadn't been so much.
That's the problem, because there's some people who are saying, well, this could be like a Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra thing. And you know what?
It's possible.
If it becomes that, great. But if Eric Spoelstra had shown up year one and crapped his pants, the idea of Eric Spoelstra wouldn't have been as appealing as it ended up being.
I agree. And, I think if I was working for Mitch as his representative, I would point to the fact that what did he have to work with? De'Aaron Fox, he had him for 5 games.
When Wemby was healthy, they were not a good team.
They were getting better. I mean, there were times when you're right. There's lots of pros and cons. And I think part of that is everybody's going to say this is a dream job, and it is. You got a stock full cupboard. You got lots of money. You got
the future is bright.
Yeah, lots of picks. But Al McGuire said it years ago. You never want to be the guy to replace the guy. And I think at the end of the day, some of the guys that we're talking about look at this team and go, I'll do it, but I'm going to need some assurances because I'm walking a tightrope here. I'm a guy coming from without. I won't have anybody in my corner. They're probably not going to let him stock his bench full of his dudes. There's still going to be some Spurs blood, some corporate knowledge are going to hang around on that bench.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's as dreamy a job as it would be for some people that might have been inside of the fence that probably weren't interviewed, like Will Hardy. I cannot imagine in this world that there was not somebody who called Will Hardy. I can't imagine in any kind of corporate world that if Will Hardy was not a candidate, he wasn't called. I do believe that there were some talk to. I believe Becky was consulted. She can say what she wants, and the decision might have been from the get-go no, but I know that she was talked about. At least she was considered or at least involved in the decision.
It's just that if Mitch had a successful interim,
I think we're going to be doing this again next year, AJ. I really do. I think we're going to be back at it again in a year, and I think this might also be kind of the plan. Here's the good news: if things work out the way they should, they would be getting ready to play their second playoff series a lot like Houston should have been, or Detroit should have been. So let's talk about the best case scenario for the Spurs next year. The two biggest turnaround teams in the league, Houston and Detroit, out in the first round, and both of them went out for the same reasons. They had never been here before.
They're in that step in the process.
So the Spurs' best possible outcome, and maybe they shock the world and get through the first round. The best possible is a first round out, probably 4-1. Maybe 4-3. But I think it's a 4-game gentleman's kind of sweep, no matter what happens, because we know what the history has told us about the NBA, and we just witnessed it. I don't care how good you get. There's a lot of guys who have been there and done that before, and they know how to do it, and you don't.
Yeah.
So if it's a first round out next year, the Wolves are going to circle. They're gonna, because it's gonna. If all things are fine, and we have 2 lottery picks, De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, and this is not a trade with Giannis. This is not any of that. I think we're going to be back next year. So I look at this as kind of a prolonged development process that's still in play with Wemby. We don't want to interrupt that, nor do we want to bring in anybody who might want to interrupt that. We got a guy who's got some corporate knowledge, knows where the things are parked, will play a role in the development of some young players at least for a year. I would upgrade the bench. I'd find some, call Coach Bud. Let's pay you a lot of money. Go back to the old days where in the early years when PJ Carlissimo was here, the early
Bud
title
would
years.
Play for him.
PJ was here for the offense. And on the defense, it was Hubie Brown. We had 2 dudes that were legends sitting next to Pop who got things. This is the early titles.
Yeah.
We had dudes that knew what was happening.
But Pop was also at that point even a man who had been around for a while.
Well, more than Mitch. No more than Mitch. Now, he'd come and had an assistant coach in the late 80s, had left and come back and was sitting on the bench. He had about the same amount of experience as Mitch had. I mean, they're about the same dude at the same time. There's some comparisons there. Mitch out of Stanford, Pop out of the Air Force Academy, some assistant coaching work, some GM work. So there's some similarities to the way they've come up. That does feel kind of natural, but I do get the sense that the idea of what we're going to expect after this offseason, and it could be miraculous with the freak showing up, and that might be another reason a coach is going to be hesitant. I don't want to be here and have you empty out the cupboard with guys I want, or I don't want to play a role in a trade that might not, So I do see some reasons why it appears to be a dream job, that this is much easier to look at. Let's prolong this for another year with the same goal. Got to get in the playoffs, and if you don't, you're fired. And if you do get in and you don't win the first round, you're going to be fired. There's a high expectation for what was probably a plan put in place a little bit earlier than expected or hoped.
Well, I have another conspiracy theory, and this one, if it's not true, is a massive, massive misstep by the Spurs. We'll talk about that next. Morning Huddle 94.1.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still have this trouble spot on the northwest side on I-10 on the frontage road eastbound at Wurzbach. It is an accident. Got the right lane blocked. That stall at 151 eastbound Callahan is just cleared. We are in good shape along 35 southbound Schertz Parkway on down to Randolph Boulevard. And 90 eastbound, usually slow, but for now, 211 over to 35, that's in good shape. As we get further into your morning rush hour, that definitely is going to slow down. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radio.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains, conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Your marriage is over. You know it, your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at texasdivorce.com. That's texasdivorce.com.
Hey San Antonio, this is Kelly Finglass, Senior Director of the world-famous Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. Don't miss your chance to see our all-new theater production, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders on Tour. A night of dazzling performances, electrifying dance routines, a Q&A session, and even a live audition. We're coming to you for one night only, May 25th at the Majestic Theater. Tickets are limited, so go to DallasCowboysCheerleaders.com/tour to learn more today.
Missions fans, get ready for AARP $2 Tuesdays at Wolf Stadium, presented by San Antonio Sports Star. Enjoy $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more. This Tuesday, first pitch at 7:05 p.m. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at samissions.com.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
You know the Roo Pub is proven to be the best place to watch games with those three massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Let's go!
Hi, it's Jason Minix. You're listening to the home of the Cowboys, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle 94.1, 6:29. We're huddling up here this morning, talking about Greg Popovich leaving. I say leaving, stepping down as head coach of the Spurs.
Hey,
no,
man,
he ain't going nowhere.
He got promoted. He got a promotion. I don't know why everybody's upset. He got to work less. He gets to stay home. Now he got promoted. He's smoking a cigar today.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know that that's the case. And his doctor would probably say his cigar is not great for you.
We're not going to cut your pay. We're fine with Monday and Friday absenteeism.
But also,
we're going to give you a brand new title in a corner office. How do you feel?
The doctor
pretty good.
He's not going to let him smoke a cigar, though.
Well, I didn't say you could light it.
Okay. Here's the other thought. If they did not talk to Victor Wembanyama about this decision, they are absolute fools.
Well, of course they did. Of course they did.
So, to me, I guess that's the upside is Wemby signed off on Mitch Johnson.
Yeah.
Which is a bit surprising to me.
Why?
But
He doesn't know any better.
I think he knows that they lost more games than they won.
Well, he also, I think there's reasons and excuses. He's inside, and he will accept the excuse instead of. I mean, he'll accept the reason instead of feeling like it's an excuse. There was not a move made without the Wemby clan, whether it be here or in Paris, very much involved with the next several steps. I have no doubt in my mind.
Well, that would have to be a part of it. Like he's got to be in on that decision making because obviously you want to.
Well, your concern is just because what you want doesn't mean it's good for you. I mean, just because this is, you're familiar and you like this. I'm not saying this is a bad decision, but sometimes coaches got to do some things with kids and players to develop in the ways that need to be developed that players might not necessarily agree with,
Yeah.
That's one of the real brilliant parts of Popovich over the years is his absolute ability to have stars, genuine stars who didn't really need his help, but got them to listen to him and got them to affect their games and effect their games in ways that I don't think they ever dreamed they would because they didn't need to. And that's where the real genius has been with Pop. And does Mitch have that ability to get players to do things that they might not necessarily feel like that's best for them, but they really are? In the first year, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know the answers to all these things. And a lot of that is by design, by the design of the Spurs. But I wish that I just wish there was more of a process that was public so we would have an idea of. And I know that's being naive. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I wish that they were more open about the process of how they got here. That way there's a chance for us to hold them accountable at the end.
And I think in the end we'll find out. In the end, the truth, or at least the sequence, will come out. I don't think it'll be initial. And I think we'll find out that this was a decision that was made a minute ago that was spurred by the last health emergency. I think that I can't imagine, even now, that there was ever any thought by those that really mattered that he was going to coach again. So I think from the get-go, this process has been going. So I assume that, and I could be wrong, that a lot of people were contacted and there was a search, but nothing public because no one wants to be turned down either. So, you're only talking to trusted folks, so they're not going to leak it because there's also the ramifications of tampering. But I do think that, in the real world, conversations were had. And I think the guys that maybe were most obvious might have had some questions and some concerns about possibilities. We got a lot happening this year, and you sign on for one team, and suddenly that whole team's gone, and it's Giannis, and you're like, well, that's not the guys I thought I was going to coach, nor did I interview to, you know what I mean? It's a RPP, but it is a problem. It's a rich people problem, but it's still a problem if the team that you signed on to coach has suddenly changed and the ground rules have changed. So I think that there's enough vagaries out there that continuing with Mitch isn't that surprising, but it does give you and I think everybody else there one more stake in the fire to really be upset when and if it doesn't work.
Right. Because the defense that the Spurs would have always had is we've done it this way and we've had a lot of success doing it this way with Greg. And that we got it figured out. Now, without Popovich being there, there's not going to be that line of defense of this guy's got skins on the wall, trust his process, because all we've seen of this guy is he was a below average interim coach.
Well, and let's talk about what the process and Pop. He could be at every practice.
Good.
That not that there's very many practices, but the process will prolong. For me, it's what happens on the first time out in the third quarter after a 4-0 run and Victor's missed 2 defensive assignments. What are you going to do? Those little things that lead to losses, that's my worry. Do we have enough time for Mitch to learn to be a head coach and Wemby to learn to be the greatest player in the world and have it happen concurrently? Do we have the time for that to happen? That's my concern. The process for Victor's development personally, And professionally, that's not going to move an iota. Pop's still going to be here. He'll be the guy on the phone. He'll pick him up for breakfast if that's the case because he's going to have more time. It's the can we win basketball games with a coach like Mitch Johnson in the second year of his career when the clock is ticking for Victor. I mean, tick, 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 tick. We're already coming into year 3.
Yeah.
And it's time. So there's a lot of things in play here, and the Spurs have a huge risk. That's why I get the sense that even if there's a slight question, we're going to be back here again next year.
Yeah. Eric says, how exactly are we judging him as below average with his roster exactly? Again, let's not pretend like Wemby missed the entire season. Okay? And also consider that now, mind you, the De'Aaron Fox deal means the roster next year will be better. But other than the addition of De'Aaron Fox, what you had this year is pretty much the roster. Like, I mean,
as far as we can tell.
Yeah, I mean, you may subtract Chris Paul next year, add a rookie, but for the most part, this is the roster. And when that was the roster early in the season, they were not good. This was not a good team. They weren't as awful as they were, but they weren't on their way to being a playoff team, I don't think. I mean, maybe they could have snuck into a play-in and
well, they were play-in worthy. I think they were headed there. They had some young mistakes. They weren't good enough to justify Mitch just automatically sliding into the job. I don't think anybody would argue that point. Now, you could argue whether the cards he was dealt played a huge role. Maybe. I think that did matter. I do think that you're seeding late in the season where you kind of go, well, it's all for naught now. What the hell? Why are we even trying? And I think there was some of that. So I think there were some circumstances that give him excuses. But there's so much more in play. We got timelines. And now, can you imagine if this is a possibility, and I do think it's worth the conversation with Milwaukee, does Giannis look down here and go, I love the opportunity to play with Wemby in the future and all that, but we're going to be doing some unique stuff here. And is Mitch Johnson the guy that really is going to be my coach over the next couple of years? So I think there's some other stuff that come into play. Do potential trade partners look at this and go, well, I like the idea, but the rookie coach is a little bit of a concern to me. And if I do show up under the rookie coach's ideas and plans, what happens when he gets fired and the next coach shows up, doesn't necessarily like me?
Yeah. I think we talked about this last week, the idea about Giannis. The Spurs are way down on the odds list to land Giannis.
But I think because we're going to be –
and this certainly can't help.
Yeah, and we're going to be in the conversation for every available disgruntled player. They're always going to list the Spurs because we have all the money and all the draft picks. I mean, and we have some talent that we're more than willing to trade. So don't be – and because we're going to be part of this conversation, the head coach is going to play a role in whether we're legitimately considered on the other side of this or we're just always considered because of what I just said.
Yeah. The Spurs were 25-1, according to betonline.ag, last check, which it was about, 12th in the odds. All I know is if Giannis has not been happy with the coaching he's gotten in Milwaukee, he's probably not looking down at Mitch Johnson and going, now that's what'll fix me.
Exactly. And,
although I think we can agree, Pop as a head coach, while there's probably some people who would have said, I'll go play for Pop, there's probably a handful of guys in the league, especially that are at that level, who wouldn't be interested in playing for a guy like Pop.
Probably not many.
I think of prime James Harden would have had very little interest in playing for Greg Popovich.
I agree with that. But those conversations would never even begin because there wouldn't be like, oh, I'd like to go to San Antonio, but I ain't playing for Pop. No, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that I could circle and say no, they don't want to play for him, and we certainly wouldn't want him to come here.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, this is maybe me just being frustrated that we're not privy to what's going on behind the curtain. We just see the big screen with the Wizard of Oz on it. We don't get to see the man pulling the cranks behind, It's just when that's the case, it's really hard to want to believe in it when you don't see how it's been made. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think as we watch this, we'll realize that the continuum of the Spurs, this is a process that was put in place maybe even longer before the stroke. That Pop had a plan, and it was a 5-year plan, and we got Wemby, so we had a 4-year plan, and then the stroke hit, and the plan continues whether he's here or not. And the people that are here are going to continue that plan no matter what. And that wouldn't shock me a bit. So transparent, we might have been witnessing the transparency, but it was so slow in developing.
That's entirely possible.
We didn't even realize it. You know what, though, AJ, I say that. No, that's not the case. This was a shock to everybody's system, and this was a very difficult decision to make. And I think that there's some people whose future definitely depend on it. I think that if this doesn't go well, if it's a failure from we have what appears to be a coaching gap, and we can see it, and it's evident by the way players are. We have J.J. Redick situations where substituting is weird, and players are disgruntled and things like that. There's reputations and people inside the building who could be gone, too, because the next hire will not be a company man.
Right. It will be someone from the outside.
Yes, and they will bring an entirely different regimen in.
And maybe that's the other thing. If I were sitting around, what is this, year 7 now without the playoffs? Or year?
It's been since 2017. Yeah, we're up there, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
After 7 years of not making the playoffs, maybe, that's my thought is, maybe it's time now to go outside the house, you know?
That's why I think we hit the fast forward a little bit, because of the stroke. And if it's this time next year where we really are there, when it probably would have been that year anyway. Pop probably was going to retire next year anyway. You get the sense that we were almost at the end no matter what, and Mitch is going to finish out the term. He's kind of like Gerald Ford stepping in. He's going to finish out the term. And, yeah, he's got a nice little golden parachute when they let him go. We'll find out what the terms are today.
Yeah.
But I really do believe, unless it's just a resounding absolute playoff win success, we're going to be sitting here again next year talking about the next new coach.
Eric says the Spurs are going after Giannis, and with their assets, they're as good to get him as Houston or OKC or whoever else wants to go after him. Here's the thing, though.
I don't believe they're going after him.
I don't think so either. And also, with players like Giannis, if he doesn't want to come to San Antonio,
he ain't coming. No,
he ain't going to San Antonio. Trade's not going to work.
He picks where he's going.
Yeah, this isn't like, the Spurs have the most assets, they'll be able to get him. That's not how the NBA trades work.
And certainly now, you don't go chasing Giannis with a rookie coach. Those two just don't go together. He doesn't want it, nor do we. I mean, it's just too much to ask unless we have him sit next to Coach Bud. Name 3 other title-holding winning coaches that we can sit beside him to take over, and this is this committee of superstar former Spurs types. It ain't going to happen.
I've said that it feels like you gave a 17-year-old driver the keys to a Maserati, and it's a dangerous move because he's barely learning to drive, and this machine has expectations now that Wemby. Had he taken over this job 2 or 3 years ago, okay, try your best, Bubba.
I'm gonna be arrogant right now. I'm gonna put on my silver and black, and I'll tell you. They also said we couldn't get Tim after David. And then they told us we couldn't get Wemby after Tim. And guess what? We've gotten him 3 times. We might very well have hit the Popovich gold mine and found the next. I mean, it could have been just like everything else. The Spurs, for whatever reason, are lucky. And they found them a coach a long time ago in Mitch, and they grew him just like Pop was around the organization for nearly 10 years before he took over the gig. Mitch has been around here about 8 or 9 years, too, and they might have already plugged into the future. He might be that guy. Let's not discount what the Spurs have done in the past and the eyes that Pop and RC have had. They've mined gold and diamonds many times before, and this could very well be the thing, and we might not ever talk about Mitch like this again. We might have the next Steve Kerr. We'll find out.
And Eric says Jake Fisher's already reported they're going to. I'm sure the Spurs would like to get Giannis.
I think that there's some
almost
play.
Everybody would like to get Giannis, but Giannis is making that decision, not the Bucks and not the Spurs.
And this is not an organization that wheels and deals. It's just not. When our hand is forced with Kawhi, we made a decent deal. We didn't make a great deal. We just made a deal, and that was the only deal since Gervin was traded in the early 90s that meant of any consequence. So, Spurs aren't dealers like this.
Most guys who do get traded in the NBA, it's almost always disgruntled player A for disgruntled player B. Like, it's rare that, there's just let's trade this player for a bunch of future assets. No.
Can we also say, let's give the Spurs a little bit of credit. Right got the entire front office of Atlanta fired. Everybody in Atlanta got fired because of the deals that Brian Wright orchestrated. So we do have a GM that has already put a skin on the wall that won a deal to the point where everybody involved with it got fired. So let's give Wright a little bit of credit. That DeJounte deal, brilliant.
All right, we'll keep talking about this. We'll talk about this a lot throughout the day. We'll also we'll talk about the Rockets eliminated last night, and now the round 2 of the playoffs are set, and in some cases already underway. We'll talk about that as well, and we'll also talk about, dude, Rob, if you're not watching the hockey playoffs yet, the best thing that happened in sports all weekend happened last night.
FOMO, yeah.
I don't know how you can have a better sports moment than you did yesterday. We'll talk about that. It's the Morning Huddle 94.1.
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's 72-hour sale is happening now. Save up to 72% off on top brands, with queens starting at $149.99. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Karbach Brewing was not born in San Antonio, Texas, but they have certainly gone out of their way to make San Antonio their second home. We had the head brewer come in, and he said when they first started to reach outside of Houston, San Antonio was the place they wanted to be, and does it show. Karbach beer is all over our great city, from their in-your-face flagship IPA, Hopadillo, to the Ziegenbach, to their best seller, the Love Street, their Kolsch-style blonde. There is something for everyone in Karbach's lineup, and it is all over the place. Of course, you're going to find it at the grocery stores. Of course, you're going to find it at the liquor stores, but it's also at a bunch of bars and restaurants around town. They wanted to make this their second home, and that's what it's become. So when you're out, you're watching the games at your local sports bar, your local restaurant, your local hangout, you're thinking, I want to elevate my beer game a little bit. Well, friend, wherever you're at, they probably have some Karbach either on tap or in cans. So when you're out and about doing your thing, go ahead and make sure to ask your bartender to please make it a Karbach.
George gets justice. If you've been injured, get George, because George gets justice. With over 100 years of combined experience and a relentless dedication to your case, the attorneys at George Salinas Injury Lawyers will fight for what's right. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, get George and get the compensation you deserve. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here with my good friends from Prize Picks. I'm just one of millions of members of Prize Picks that play daily fantasy sports every day, and things just keep getting better. How about 2,000x on your cash today? That's right, cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your best chance to add your favorite players from the court on Prize Picks lineup. And whether it's points, rebounds, assists, and whatever else, take your pick more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000x your cash today. Turn up your playoff hot takes into tickets on basketball and championship winnings every day. And there's stuff going on all week. Every Tuesday, Prize Picks will discount several projections on the board. They take up to 15 to 25% off savings and fun. And then there's Big Flex Friday. Those picks that don't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds up to your limit as soon as the lineup settles. Hey, there's money back. That's why I love Prize Picks. 2,000 times your money and some free ones. Download Prize Picks. Use the code ALAMO for 50 free bucks. That's Prize Picks. Go run your game.
Don't let pain hold you back from living your best life. I'm Dr. Jason Garrett with Arasti. At Arasti, we're dedicated to providing fast, effective relief from pain. Whether you've been dealing with a chronic discomfort for years or have recently suffered an injury, our goal is to help you recover quickly. Our treatment is all natural, non-invasive, and covered by most insurance plans. With convenient locations nearby, relief is just a call away. Visit Arasti.com. That's AIRROSTI.com. Arasti, we fix pain fast.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
All right, Morning Huddle 94.1. I'm not going to try to even sing MJ.
I know.
I do love this song, though.
all of Michael's catalog, I think, should be I'm not going to forgive. I'm just going to ignore the past. I'm not going to forgive.
Yeah.
But here, you can't play PYT. We just have to take that one out of the catalog. That's a little skeevy.
Okay.
That's the one song you're like, that's a little awkward, man. We shouldn't be singing about a pretty young thing. But
when he's talking about equality,
context,
and
that one, I'm not normally anti-song. That rapey Christmas song, I never quite got it. Fine, sing it. But this one, considering what we now know, probably isn't the best song. But everything else I'm down with.
well, I'm not going to spend my life being a color, is what I've decided.
I'm down. Look what it got Macaulay Culkin. That was a great video. Wasn't he in that one?
I think he was.
He was.
I like the Man in the Mirror song too.
Oh, there's Ebony and Ivory.
Yeah, I wasn't like I'm not the hugest MJ fan. Like I'm Team Prince over Team Michael Jackson any day.
Yeah, that's the whole. Yeah.
And people my age specifically were like hugely, and probably more like the people in between my age and your age are probably like the biggest Michael Jackson fans.
No, my age. And because you got to keep in mind, 1982, we all know where we were when Michael got on stage at I believe, I forget the awards.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Grammys.
And he moonwalked.
And we all know exactly where we were when we saw it. The world changed.
Ren says, what about Warrant with the song She's Only 17? Sir, 17 is legal tender in the great state of Texas.
Yes.
So that's that song. There's nothing wrong with
now,
that.
the term legal tender probably wasn't the best. I'm just going to go out on a limb that we don't want to pair those two phrases together.
Fine.
All right.
At 17,
It's not a
you're
crime.
legal tender.
You're legal and tender is what I meant.
Yeah, that's another album cover. That's another record right there.
Legal and tender.
Legal and tender. We're on the Legal and Tender Fall Tour.
Yes, Warrant said, hey, those gals who are 17, it's perfectly within the set of laws that have been placed here. Now, if they said she's only 16, I'd say, what?
We're not in Mississippi.
Repulsive.
This isn't Mississippi.
But listen, man, all we can do is go by the law of the land.
This isn't Louisiana.
And Warrant said the law of the land says 17. I'm going to say 17.
14? This isn't Arkansas.
That's right.
She's not your cousin.
I think in Arkansas it has to be 14 and blood relation for it to be legal.
There's a fork in your tree. We can't have that. We want one branch. Yeah. Straight up. You look just like your mama and daddy and grandfather and grandmother on both sides.
Wesley says, we're quick to complain about Mitch, but Pop, Wemby, and Vets want him. Don't need a retread head coach.
You know what? On that statement, there's a lot of merit. There is. There's something about comfortability and knowing the system and knowing the plan, especially with a bunch of young kids.
First of all, who are the vets on this team that have any say or should have any say?
I think De'Aaron Fox is the de facto dude.
And you think De'Aaron Fox, who played with Mitch Johnson for 5 games and was like, all right, I'm done. You think he's like, if it's not Mitch, I'm out?
No, I think what I'm saying is I think this plan was in place that we are witnessing come through before this announcement. I think when they made the deal with De'Aaron was very well aware what the system or the plan for changing of the helm was. I feel like we have not varied one iota from the plan that was put in place 2 years ago. It's just the coach exited about a year and a half earlier than expected, but the plan, the draft picks, the move, available, all that is exactly as has been scheduled. Now, you didn't know for sure you'd get De'Aaron Fox, but you knew you were going to chase a veteran, and you got it.
Yeah.
So I do think that there was some discussion that De'Aaron knew that at some point Mitch is going to take over. Now it seems to be sooner than later. But I think when he made the deal and Mitch was the head coach, they told him, look, man, he's probably going to be back.
Yeah. Well, it's real easy to just tell people that instead of making us sit here and project.
Well, therein lies the brilliance of the plan that's been in place since 1996.
Well, this is you're right, but without Popovich, again, to deflect that stuff.
I think we're going to get the truth. I do. I think at some point, they're not liars. It's just a matter of everything in their time. And there's somebody, and sadly, it's going to be dropped by like somebody from the Athletic or some national writer who already has some unique access as we speak, because if there's not a book written about the end of Pop's coaching career, somebody has dropped the ball. There is something already in play, and at some point a book will come out or something to that effect will give us a blow-by-blow, day-by-day account of what, from the day that Pop went to the hospital to the day he abdicated the throne, how we got to where we are.
Jason brings up the good point. It was Winger, not Warrant, that finished at only 17.
Thank you. Let's not screw that one up.
Oh, just two great bands, though. You're right. We don't want to screw that up because both, I mean, they deserve their respect.
Yes. One wore denim, the other wore leather.
Deserve their respect.
One had frosted tips. The other one was just straight blonde.
I always remember the kid that Beavis and Butthead bullied wore a Winger shirt. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Winger.
Awful.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's hit a break. In the next hour, we'll talk about the basketball that's going on now, current basketball. We'll get into more Pop as the show goes on. It is the Morning Huddle 94.1.
When you think San Antonio sports, think 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your home for the Cowboys. KTFM Floresville and SASportsStar.com.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radio.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off. Free UPS shipping and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Let's Rodeo San Antonio Brahmas style. The herd you love returns to the Alamo Dome for their Let's Rodeo theme game. Join us Friday, May 9th at 7 p.m. when your San Antonio Brahmas battle the DC Defenders. Dust off your boots and grab your cowboy hat to celebrate with rodeo-inspired fun for the whole family. Enjoy a pregame happy hour in the H-E-B Plaza with $3 frozen margaritas and beer. Get your tickets today at UFLbrahmas.com. That's UFLbrahmas.com for tickets. Our town, our team, our herd.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Spring is here, and in South Texas, that means storms, wind, rain, and hail. If you've been hit by a storm or think you have damage, now is the time to contact Stevens Roofing and Solar at 210-785-0994. Don't put your trust in an out-of-town storm chaser. Stevens Roofing is a family-owned, locally based company who will be here for years to come. The team at Stevens Roofing and Solar will give you peace of mind when the storms come rolling in. Call 210-785-0994 for Stevens Roofing.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still have this trouble spot on the northwest side on I-10 on the frontage road eastbound at Wurzbach. It is an accident. Got the right lane blocked. That stall at 151 eastbound Callahan is just cleared. We are in good shape along 35 southbound Schertz Parkway on down to Randolph Boulevard. And 90 eastbound, usually slow, but for now, 211 over to 35, that's in good shape. As we get further into your morning rush hour, that definitely is going to slow down. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
The NBA playoffs continued last night as the Golden State Warriors exited the Houston Rockets in Game 7, 103-89. The Golden State Warriors were paced by Buddy Hield's 33 points, 9 three-pointers. In Game 1 of the second round of Eastern Conference playoffs, Indiana snuck up and beat Cleveland in Cleveland, 121-112. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
7:01 on the Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Casey brings up another good point. The next few years being so important for the Spurs, and it feels like this is the time with Pop stepping away that the opportunity to be kind of transparent and be more open and honest and fan involved and people involved matters a lot, because the Spurs are suddenly coming out and asking a lot of the people of San Antonio during a time when they haven't been to the playoffs in 7 years.
Well, there's an old axiom. If you listen to the fans, you'll end up being one of them. The Spurs ain't changing. They are who they are. You think that just because Pop left, they're going to tell us about their coaching search and the plans and what we're going to do and the ideas behind what we're doing? No, that's the thing about the Spurs is everything about the San Antonio Spurs Greg Popovich has touched, molded, loved, and created. I'm talking about from the parking spots at the Rock to the locker room at the Frost. Everything about the Spurs for 30 years now is Pop. Yeah. There is nothing in this organization that Pop has not created, touched, or played a huge role in its creation, good and bad. So for us to expect 3 days later that the new contingent, there's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to have player availability, and they're going to have their own podcasts, and we're going to have a coach's TV show once a week, and we'll have players coming on radio on a regular and talking about what they're. Are you kidding me? That ain't changing anytime soon. That's not who we are. And when I say we, that goes all the way down to the parking lot attendants that I bet Pop looked at their resume.
So you don't think Project Marvel has anything to do with their decision-making going forward?
I think it has a huge role in their decision-making. I don't think that, and now even more so, you think any bad news is going to be let creep out of this building? We ain't going to get anything but happy stuff. This is one big happy family. Mitch is one of ours, and this was the plan, and we love everything, and this was Pop's still here. Look at him over here in the president's office. Yeah. Even if Pop was completely unavailable and unable to do the job as president, he'd still get this job because we need continuity now more than ever.
You need to put the face out there.
Yeah, Pop is going to have to play a front and center role. So I think that the Project Marvel has a huge role in keeping Mitch around. Now, doesn't mean this time next year, because this time next year, well, the fight's about to begin. The fight will be all but over. We might be dealing with a second attempt this time next year.
Yeah.
Because we'll be voting for this thing in November if we're not careful.
Eric says a franchise that does business publicly is one that's a clown show. I mean, you can say that, but the Yankees have had a lot of success doing their business out in the public. The Lakers have had a lot of success doing their business out in the public.
I think the Spurs would like to be big time, but they don't want to do the stuff to make them like that. It's just not in their DNA. And when it was before Pop, we were a bit of a clown show. I mean, we were. I mean, we were a bit chaotic. Bob Bass was the head coach of the Spurs every other year because we couldn't keep anybody around.
Yeah, it just felt like this job is a big enough job, and especially with Wemby here, it is the job is big enough that it warranted more than just, well, the next guy down the bench is the guy.
Well,
because there are guys, whatever you think of Mitch Johnson, and if you think Mitch Johnson has a really bright future, so be it. But there are guys better equipped to handle this roster today than Mitch Johnson. And there's zero doubt in my mind of that. So, again, if this time next year we're sitting here talking about the Spurs not being in the postseason,
we'll be talking about a new coach. I'm telling you,
that's another wasted year of Wemby, though. When you don't have all the time in the world, there is no guarantee that Wemby is the next David Robinson or Tim Duncan, who is just going to show up here and be here forever and ever and ever and ever. And I know Spurs fan has probably been spoiled by that, and they just assume that's the reality. That's just not how it always works.
And I don't watch Giannis in Milwaukee. But I can say this. Given the circumstances, this is not a surprise to Wemby. He has played a role in the decision. And as long as he feels self-actualized and happy with everything going on around him, I think that's all the Spurs can ask. And they know the clock is ticking. They know that there's development required. They've got the very future of this franchise is going to hinge on the next 2 years. I'm not kidding. I mean, they either this whole thing collapses, they don't build a stadium, Wemby gets upset and leaves, and we become Charlotte, which could easily happen.
Yeah.
So the very fortunes of this franchise are going to hinge on the next 2 years. And trust me, I know everybody in this, all the way up to Peter Holt, knows this. So I will trust that the due diligence was done. I do think that they could have probably sped the clock up a little bit. I think they're falling back on the comfortable part of this is our plan. We have not varied from our plan, and even though we've had some variables, we are not going to vary.
Which I guess you can respect in a way.
Well, it's been, like you just said, it's been 7 years now. I'm running out of patience. I'm sick of watching the two things that I witnessed yesterday. The embarrassment of losing at home in a game one where you got jumped, and I saw the Spurs have that happen to them. And I also wish upon all my great stars to at one point be a fan of a Spurs team to go into Houston and beat them in Game 7 again. I saw both sides of the things that I absolutely miss, and I want it now.
It's been 2017 since the Spurs won a playoff series, so you can say, like, you know, it's doing things publicly is a clown way to do things. It's been about 8 years. Once you go 8 years and you're not winning, you're not making the playoffs, you're not winning in the playoffs, what separates you from being a clown show other than the banners that you've got hung up in the rafters that at this point are starting to collect dust? I'm not saying, like,
it's not a clown show, but
I'm saying if you take away the history of it, just take a snapshot of the last 8 years.
Well, there's been playoffs. They just haven't won a series. I mean, and there was.
It's now been 6 years with no playoffs. It's been 8 years without winning a playoff series. Mm-hmm. Those things, if you don't factor in the history before it,
no, you're right.
You would say this is a clown show.
Well, I know what a clown show looks like. It's not. I mean, it's a franchise that has been in steady decline.
Rob, they have lost more games than they've won for 6 consecutive years.
Well,
if you don't count the history, you cannot have 6 straight seasons of losing records and go, but everything's okay.
No one says that. But I know 2 of those seasons were willful. 2 of those were absolute decline.
Okay, but those two seasons that they willfully willfully lost more than they should have. they were never going to be playoff teams, even if they wanted to in those years.
I mean, we pointed that, and I go, well, the win was Steph Castle and Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that there was some goals achieved.
But if they played at their peak in those years, they weren't playoff teams.
Well, you get to the situation where you're winning in February instead of October in football terminology. I mean, yeah, you got the guys, you're still not winning, so you can rest happily that you got a guy, but there's no proof that it was the right guy or anything other than the guy you were happy with. So, no, I'm with you. But when you go through it, you go, well, this makes sense because we ended up with Wemby, and I know so there's 2 years that we'll give away. And then there's a third year when Pop had a stroke midway through. So there's 3 of the 6 years. And then you go, well, then there was the decline. We tried. So there's 4. So then in the grand scheme of things, there's 2 years of just abject failure, one of which would have been a fireable offense for most franchises with the draft of Primo. So a lot of these things play in, and you go, yeah, it's time for results. It is. It is time for results. And whether it's an excuse or a reason, I just get the sense we're sticking with the plan, and we're going to let it play through this year. And if it doesn't go exceedingly well, and I'm talking about very competitive first-round playoff, not play-in and failure, playoff and 2 or 3 wins, if not an outright first-round playoff win, I think we'll be talking about everything everybody wants this year. But that's typical of the Spurs. They're going to do it on their time.
I think the gift and the curse of being a dynasty, which, I mean, there's no question the Spurs were, is that you get so set in things have worked this way for so long, there's almost a fear to try a different way. And I think you're seeing that now in New England with the Patriots. When Belichick left, even though it was clearly time for Belichick to leave, like it wasn't going to keep getting better. It wasn't going to, like, there wasn't going to be no miraculous turnaround with Bill there. There just wasn't. It was, he'd kind of lost I don't want to say lost the team. It just wasn't going to work anymore without Brady. So what'd they do? They let Belichick pick the next guy, Gerard Mayo, and it was bad. But even now, getting Mike Vrabel, it's a guy who they have ties to. Like they're so obsessed with doing it the way they've always done it that they're scared to try something new. Well, I don't know if that's a mistake or not.
Well, you know what? We're going to be sitting here next year, and the timeline's going to feel very familiar. It's going to feel very New Englandy because I don't think Vrabel would have taken the job last year because he'd have known he probably would have gotten his head chopped off because it would have gone badly. And I think there are some coaches out there look at the Spurs and go, there's still some work to be done. Yeah, I know you got Wemby, but, you know, that Devin ain't everybody's thing that everybody's talking about. And Keldon, you know, we're talking about 2 periphery players at best and then a bunch of guys that aren't going to be around. And I got 3 guys that I'm locked into and a couple of bad personnel decisions, and Wemby's gone. So maybe I'll wait a year. So I do think we're going to have this conversation precisely like the Patriots had to have the conversation. We let you have your way for a year. It obviously was a mistake. Now we're going another direction.
Eric, they're not a clown show. Give me an effing break. A clown show isn't a desired destination for stars players like they are now. Good God. Okay, 2 things on that. First of all, like luck boxing into Wemby is what made this a destination for star players. If the Spurs have the second ping pong ball instead of the first one that year, we're not talking about we're talking about this franchise is going in almost in shambles.
But it didn't. So and this is the 3rd time.
But let's also say that if you don't want to call the Spurs a clown show right now, fair. I want you to name another franchise in sports that has not made the playoffs for 6 years that you don't consider a clown show right now. I want you to think about it and give me that answer and then try to think about it objectively. And I'm not saying that once you're a clown show, you're always a clown show. Not everybody's the Cleveland Browns that are a consistent clown show, but every franchise goes through clown phases. The Houston Astros went through a massive clown phase when I was working in Houston, and they had to eat their clown.
And everybody got let go.
You got to eat your clown food while you're a clown. And now and it doesn't mean that there's not a bright future on the other side of that. Astros won multiple World Series and went to more even after that clown phase. The Spurs are undeniably in a clown phase. And if you don't see that, then you really have like some sort of weird glasses on, because no other franchise in sports is allowed to go 6 years in a row losing more games than they win and go, it's fine, everything's fine. Nobody else thinks like that in the world. Do you agree with me?
Well, I fall back on that. There are several of those years where, and I think the first three, where you go, most coaches wouldn't have survived those 3 years. The Primo draft, we can even go back to the number one picks where Malachi Brenham came in, where really it was, there was some talent you let slip through your fingers, and the team got worse. And I think if you had a hair trigger owner, things would have been changed. If you didn't have an owner that had been here, a coach that had been here 20 years, things probably would have happened 3 years.
Well, if you didn't have a coach that had won as much as he won, yeah.
But the last 3 years, I think, have all been justified. There has been small gains despite the losses, where there was a genuine attempt from the moment Greg Popovich in his opening press conference said, this isn't a playoff team. He told us from the get-go we're going for Wemby. So whatever that takes, that's what we're going to do. He told us that. The next year, well, we don't have a playoff team yet, but we're going to try to get better. And we sabotage. So coach starts Jeremy Sohan at point guard for the first 3 months to sabotage the season. So by the time we righted the ship, we ended up with Stephen Castle and approves Jeremy and a team on the upswing. And then we got kicked in the nuts. They're still working their plan that started 3 years ago, the moment Wemby came through the door, and they haven't varied it. Now, I'll tell you, if there is an absolute success, even if it was Pop next year, we will be having another conversation, because at this point, Wemby's decision and Wemby's future becomes far more important than anything else. And if Wemby ain't happy, I don't care if Pop was sitting on that throne, Pop would have been gone.
Yeah, I just think it's important to keep it into perspective, because you've had so much success here that it's easy to fall back on that. But at some point you have to take a snapshot and say, man, even if you're not a clown show currently, you're on the border of, if you have 3 more years like this, then what are you?
You live long enough, you see some things. I remember when we went through this the last time, when Pop was hired after we fired Greg Hill. And Greg Hill was a consistent 50-game-a-year winner. He got fired because Pop, the general manager, decided, David, you're hurt. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to play. And we tanked and blamed Bob Hill for tanking. So, yeah. And Greg Popovich, it was a palace coup. It felt like, who is this assistant coach? Where did he come from? And how the hell does he think he is now head coach and general manager? So at that point, we looked at Pop a lot like we're looking at Mitch Johnson. Like, who the hell do you think you are? You just happen to be on the sidelines when Pop had a stroke, and here you are, the head coach? Well, it feels very, very familiar. Just like when we got Tim after David, and just like we got Wemby after Tim, this feels very, very familiar, that they have filled a role.
The difference was, Rob, there was no dead time.
No, and
there was not a clown phase.
Can you let's just say the Spurs, if the Spurs are right and they found the next Pop, and they, after drafting Wemby, there's something going on. Somebody has sold something to the devil. If they literally found the next Pop, think of the odds of this.
You're right. You're right.
So they're bad. If you want to go world according to Garp on this, there's no way in hell this works, because the odds are astronomical that they found the next best coach in the history of the world sitting on the bench right when Pop had the stroke. So I'm not too optimistic about the long-term success. Not so much about the Spurs. I mean, Wemby can just get good on his own and cover a lot of false problems with a coach.
Yes.
But I am worried about the lag, the gap of just great coaching. He might become a great coach, but we don't have time.
Right.
I just don't have time here. We got 2 years. That's it, 2 years, and then we're going to have to come up with, I don't know, $500 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got 2 years, and that's on top of getting this whole thing built.
Getting
that we're trying to get
a
built.
building to play it in.
Gosh, this is such a stressful time for the Spurs.
It is. Other franchises in sports right now who are on a 6-year playoff drought: the Colorado Rockies, Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, Charlotte Hornets. But hey, man, no big deal.
That's a clown.
It's a clown show.
A clown alley.
So all I'm saying is, if you don't think it's a clown show now, it can become a clown show pretty quick. It's at a minimum, you're in your clown phase.
You're in a mime. You're a mime. You're not quite a clown, but you're a mime.
You're not honking your nose
You're
yet.
walking into the wind.
But the makeup's on. All right, let's no, it's not there yet.
He's leaning. It's glass. He's just pressing into the glass. That's all we're doing right now. We're not quite a clown. We're upscale clowns.
All right, let's.
We're in with the Carolina Panthers and the Coors Canaveral Avalanche.
Yes.
Oh, I mean Rockies.
No, Rockies. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'd rather be thought I was good looking before I looked in the mirror.
And Chris says Chris is right. Kawhi set this franchise back. I mean,
yeah, he killed us.
But you know,
it hurt.
That happens to everybody.
It
It's the first time the Spurs got bent over by a player. Trust me. Almost every other franchise in the world has been bent over by a player before.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a Kawhi.
He was our first.
It just happened to be at a time when almost never does a star player do that when things are going great. Usually it's the first sign of adversity the star player says, I'm out. Kawhi was like riding high, then like, I'm out.
I don't like it here. I don't like you.
That is an extra kick in the taint. But
I accept it now. I mean, I can say his name.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that if this doesn't work, this could be.
It's catastrophic.
It really is, because the entirety, the everything right now that you say positive about the Spurs starts with Victor Wembanyama
and ends with it.
And you have a limited timeline. Because I know because Tim Duncan and David Robinson were drafted and spent their entire career here, that you guys just think that's how it works. But the reality is, if Wemby doesn't have a ring, and I mean that, like a ring, by the time his second contract ends,
gone. Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, he won't make the end of his second contract.
Gone. If I was going to say, maybe not even make the end of that contract.
No, he won't. Because we won't let him leave on his own. You know what I mean? He will get traded.
So it is imperative that this is the right hire. And I just personally would have felt a lot more comfortable with someone who has driven a Maserati throwing the keys to him than a kid who just got his driver's license a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
I would have waited around and waited for the Warriors to get knocked out and said, hey, Steve, you got a team up there that's long in the tooth. You interested?
I have a sense that conversation was had, and I feel like
that would be illegal.
Oh, you're right. Forgive me. But you know, Steph's still in for another year. Draymond's in for another year. I think Steve's in for another year. And if he's in for another year up there, and if he is indeed the choice, and my God, he's mine.
Yeah.
I'm willing to wait. But that's just subjection, and you know, he's probably got his own plans, and it might not involve ever coaching again.
Now, this could very much be like what the Texans did when they hired David Culley. They didn't know there wasn't the candidate they wanted wasn't available at the time, so they said, okay, let's just give it to some random dude.
Don't give him the keys. Just make him think
he's
driving.
In charge. Yeah,
but
it's like
not
in
the
simulation mode. Yeah, like there's somebody behind pulling strings, like flying it like a drone. And he's there like, oh, yeah, this is great.
I'm driving this boat. Look how good things are going.
This is great.
Look, I can take my hands off the wheel, and we're still going the right way.
Right. And then maybe there's the next. But, again, listen, man, I hope Mitch Johnson is the guy. I have real doubts given what I saw this year.
It's going to, you know, and for him, it fell in his lap. But this is a huge responsibility.
Yep.
Billions and billions of dollars at play here.
All right, we'll be back. Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Dr. Jacob Doors is my physician. The Institute for Functional Health is my one-stop shop for all things medical. I walked in there the first time. I was just looking to lose a little bit of weight, and I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do it. This is before the GLP-1s or anything like that. It was about losing weight in a way that I felt like I could do without cheating because I know who I am. And Dr. Torres looked me in the eye and told me, I've worked with people just like you, and let me tell you why you'll be successful. And he just went down the list. And what struck me was everything he told me was only about me. It wasn't some kind of manual that he pulled out and said, first we're going to do this because everybody does this, everybody does that. No. The program put together was fit for me. My history, my medical background all played a role in how things were put together for me. And I'll tell you what, 8 years later, I'm still on the program. I'm way down in weight, but I'll continue to stay on something that is absolutely easy to stay with. I'm a foodie. I enjoy eating, but I understand the value and understand what it takes to lose the weight. I want that for you. If it's time for you to lose weight, you're not chasing expensive shots, and you want to be able to keep the weight off long term, there's no better option than the Institute for Functional Health. Go to the website. It's iffhealth.com. A great resource. Answer the questions he asked. You're going to come to some conclusions, and then call him. Find out what I know. Here's the number, 210-468-1891. If it's time to lose weight, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, give Dr. Torres a call. It'll change your life, and when it does, you can come on by here and thank me later.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN. Are you ready for the NFL season? The schedule release is coming, and we know the best place to get your tickets this year. My friends at Vivid Seats. They're seriously legit, and you earn rewards on every purchase. That's basically free football games. When that schedule hits, don't wait around. For the best selection and all the great deals, head to vividseats.com or download the app and lock in your game days now.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147, 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds, through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Your marriage is over. You know it, your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
You got to see what you have in Mingo, don't you?
Well,
I mean, you've got to go all in with this guy and give him every. You wasted a 4th-round draft pick on it.
Well, we don't know if it's wasted yet.
I say
spent.
I
you
say
spent.
We just don't know.
We can't
at this
say
point
it's
in time,
wasted
do we?
until December.
Because we just don't know, do we, Jason?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. You're locked on the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
It's showtime!
I may have struck a nerve. Jay Alvarado. The Bills aren't great. They just ride Josh Allen's play and lose year after year to the Chiefs. That's a clown show.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Historically, the Bills as a franchise are a clown show, friend. They really are. I've lived my whole life dealing with it. I'm fully aware when a team that I'm cheering for is a clown show. Fully aware. Make no mistake.
I was not defending anything. But the Spurs, there have been some clownish actions. And when you define what a clown show looks like drafting a guy like Josh Primo late. A clown show passes on Duren. A clown show lets a guy like Primo hang around for a couple of years. A clown show brings in Dougie McBuckets and never lets him shoot. There's some things that were clownish from the Spurs, but losing franchises have to go through that. And you don't have to be it doesn't have to be a comedy of errors to be a clown show. It just has to be a bunch of errors.
I don't think that they're in permanent clown mode.
No, but
they're not like the Jets who have tattooed clown makeup on. This is just, it can wash off.
There have been mistakes, but the Spurs have not done anything to embarrass us as fans other than, again, the Primo mistake, which has conveniently disappeared from our collective conscience. But it was one of those, what most franchises, it would have cost at the very least the general manager's job, if not the head coach as well, considering the ramifications of the lawsuit and everything else.
And also considering how much say this head coach in particular had in who they drafted.
Yes, and as we found out later, everybody had pretty good knowledge of what Primo's past and present were like. So that would have ended a lot so that's very clown show-esque, and some of the draft picks have been rather clownish, and some of the early Pop when he was trying to get from coaching a playoff team to a young team when dudes were getting ripped out and sat down for hours on end in games because they made one mistake, where rookies weren't even allowed to begin to flourish because Pop had a plan and it took 3 years for that plan to come to fruition. And so, yeah, there's reasons why the Spurs are managed to draft 2 rookies of the year. You have to be in a pretty lousy position to get there, and a lot of it was clownish. Some of it was designed, and some of it was on purpose, but the beginning of it was clownish. It was mistake-prone and mistake-filled both on court and off decisions. It was. You don't get this bad for any other reason but that.
I mean, it takes a lot of things happening to get to where you're missing especially in the NBA. Missing the playoffs is very difficult in the NBA. But missing the playoffs 7 years in a row is borderline impossible. But again, I'm not saying that this is a permanent fixture. I'm not saying that you're now the Pittsburgh Pirates or the New York Jets or the Cleveland Browns. I'm just saying you are in a clown phase, and if you don't get out, if you don't find the right guy to pull you out of the clown phase, you rapidly become at risk to becoming a full-time clown.
So mark the tape. It was Friday the 2nd. On May the 2nd of next year, if the Spurs aren't progressing or at least actively involved in the playoffs, I do believe we're going to be having the same conversation. I think that we need while they haven't changed the plan still dictates, and part of this plan is playoffs and a modicum of success next year. Now, I said it before, I can't expect too much because the 2 biggest turnaround teams of this year, both Detroit and Houston, are gone.
Right.
And they were exited pretty embarrassingly because they were young.
But you know what? If the Spurs have a season like the Pistons or the Rockets had this year, that's enough, dude. It really is.
I think so.
And you know what? I'll sit here and go, kudos to Mitch because he proved to be much better than he showed this year, is all I'll say. And I've heard a lot of excuse making for Mitch over this last year. But remember, when the roster was the roster, this team was not very good. They were disappointing before, and there's a reason why Wemby was out for the season before we even got the full diagnosis out. Dame Lillard had a more severe version of what Wemby had and came back.
And then we trade for De'Aaron and immediately say, well, that finger's not good enough. You can go sit down.
Yeah, a lot of the losing was by design. I get it. But
no, I think if we felt like we had a chance with a combination of head coach and a healthy De'Aaron, at least a 90% De'Aaron Fox, we might be playoff imminent, and we weren't good enough to say that.
No, and that's why those decisions were made, because right now it wasn't ready. Again, man, I'm actively hoping the Spurs got this right. It feels like this was a bigger job for a more experienced man, is all I would say. And if I'm wrong, good on the Spurs. They know a lot more about running a basketball organization than I do.
I get the sense we're going to see a name that we remember come back home and sit next to him.
Maybe so.
I don't think it'll be just the current grouping. I think there's some more coaches coming home.
Yeah. And again, it's now more. It's so much of a players' league that maybe the reality is this is who the players wanted. But if that feels like such an anti-Spurs thing too, to let
yeah, they're not going to let the players they made a player make the decision, but there wasn't a poll taken. They didn't call Mamu. Hey Mamu, what do you think?
It's 11-1 on the straw poll, but this one looks like it's 12-11 now. This one vote counts 12x. No, listen, man. I'm hoping that I was hopeful that the Spurs would be out of it this year, out of the doldrums.
And I think the plan was to be. I really do. I think that about midway through the season they realized, even before Pop, I think they realized pretty quick this team wasn't ready.
They weren't quite there yet. They're still missing a couple pieces, and they still have time to get those pieces. But right now, it's just frustrating. Again, and I know I'm the outsider. I know, like you guys hear me saying.
I don't think you're alone. I think there's a lot of us that are guarded. Like, man, I just feel like you probably could have made the decision now that you're going to force yourself to make next year. I just feel like we're going to be back here and there's going to be another coach because the expectations and the weight of what is coming is that's extraordinary to ask Mitch to go through. I mean, even the most seasoned coach, you go, you know what, not only are you going to be thrust with the responsibility of building a championship caliber team, but you're also going to be thrust with the responsibility of molding and growing Victor Wembanyama and convincing him to never, ever leave. And, oh, by the way, the moment you land, we're going to the local populace and asking them for $8 billion. So we need a little bit of success immediately. And you better be a nice guy in front of the press because everybody's going to have to love you too. So all that combined, do you want the job?
You're right. And listen, man, there's an entire possibility that Mitch Johnson is John Shire to Coach K, and like it was the right call. But there's also every possibility that he's Kyle Neptune or Hubie Davis or whoever. There's
Jared Mayo. We could go down the list.
Yeah, Rob says this a lot, and it's true. It's hard to be the guy after the guy. Particularly more difficult, I think, if the man is the one who touches you on the shoulder and says, "This is the next me." They are almost never lived up to those expectations.
And the problem is, the shadow isn't leaving. He's still in the building.
Exactly.
At least, Shire. At least Coach K left. At least Coach K wasn't down the hall. No matter whatever problem, people go, "Oh, never mind, Coach. I'll go talk to K. I'll go down to the hall to get the problem solved."
Yeah.
Pop's still in the room, man, and you get the sense anytime there's a meeting and somebody's talking about stuff, they're going to be looking at Pop and not at Mitch.
I mean, honestly, I'd feel better about it if they said, "Yeah, Mitch is going to be the coach, but during every timeout, he's going to set up an iPad." And
one of those iPad robots that kind of roll.
It's going to be Coach Pop sitting in the office.
Pop's headphones
screaming.
on.
Yeah, talking about you idiots. Yeah, I would feel a lot better about that.
Go get Keldon and put him in front of the screen.
Oh, get over here.
Keldon, get him in front of the screen. Put in your earbuds.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll wrap up the second hour of the program. It's the Morning Huddle 94.1.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. As you head into your early morning commute, we've still got this trouble spot on the southeast side of town. 37 northbound, just past Pecan Valley. This wreck has the far left lane, far right lanes blocked. All that gets by is that center lane. It's a 45-minute delay. 37 northbound before Southeast Military, that stall off to the shoulder. And a wreck at 410 northbound approaching 90 in the right lane. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Thomas J. Henry Injury Attorneys, available 24/7.
When it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years and successfully represented thousands of injured Texans. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
Missions fans, level up your Tuesdays with AARP $2 Tuesdays at Wolf Stadium. Presented by San Antonio Sports Star. Unlock $2 tickets, beer, hot dogs, and more. Don't miss this high score deal. First pitch is 7:05 p.m. Grab your tickets now at samissions.com.
Listen up, San Antonio. At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can get college credit for the stripes you've earned. Turn your military rank into college credit to save time and money on an online degree. Eligible enlisted service members and previously enlisted veterans may receive up to 12 credits for select undergraduate courses based on their rank, and up to 90 credits in total for prior learning, military experience, and training. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu/SATX.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them, and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
Hi, my name is Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney here in San Antonio where I've practiced for more than 30 years. And San Antonio has really grown since I started practicing law. The risk of injury in a car crash today is greater than it's ever been, because every day we're forced to share our roads with 80,000-pound 18-wheelers and some truly dangerous drivers. If you or a family member is injured in a car crash, know this: the insurance companies are mobilized against you. They have highly trained adjusters and a long roster of attorneys with one job: pay as little as possible. Their techniques are extensive, and I believe you have zero chance of obtaining a fair recovery on your own. If you're involved in a car crash, you need to hire an attorney as soon as possible after the collision and before you speak to the insurance company's adjusters. Now, I do not have a comic book nickname. I do not call myself the Law Eagle, the Tiger Lawyer, the Law Chupacabra. I think the practice of law needs to be taken more seriously. If you've been injured, call me, Jason Thompson, for a free consultation. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 210-900-0400, or my website, alawyerforus.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The NFL lives right here. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
All right. Hey, shout out San Antonio's own Tate Taylor.
Very fast man. Very fast.
Yeah.
Races planes and horses and whatnot.
Texas Relay is going on this last weekend in Austin. And there's a kid from Duncanville who everybody was gushing about named Braden Williams.
Yep.
Of course.
And Braden,
Not anymore.
The previous record for the 100 meters for a high school kid was 10.13. And Braden Williams ran a 10.01, which is really impressive. Until Harlan High School's Tate Taylor ran a 9.92.
Wow.
100 meters.
He was gone.
I'll tell you what, man. That is
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
They're making them different than they did when I was around.
Yes,
that is wild. Just to put it into perspective, like we're talking about a high school kid running a 9.9. Noah Lyles ran a 9.79 to win the gold medal in 2024 in Paris. So, like, we're talking about this is the world class of world class. He would have finished he would have finished 8th in the Olympics with that time, and he's 17 years old.
We both got both the boys and the girls. Taylor Nunez out of Randolph did the same thing on the other side. Not quite the international world record.
Not quite a 991.
She went undefeated.
That's awesome, man.
100, 200 relays, all
good
that.
Job. Good job, San Antonio. Way to represent, folks.
Very fast people. Very fast.
Way to tell that kid from Duncanville to suck it.
By the way, Taylor's brother Austin is transferring in from Ole Miss to play basketball at UTSA.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
That Nunez family, they're athletes.
There we go, baby. There we go. Also, they said that the it was wind legal, by the way.
Yep.
He also, this Tate Taylor, also took the gold medal in the 200, setting a state record with a 20.14.
And he ran backwards.
Yes.
Which was even more impressive.
On his hands.
Backwards running.
Pretty incredible.
Good.
Pretty incredible. He's a long, big kid, too, man. That's
I imagine there's a football coach or two who'd like to talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, give him a call. Hey, Bubba.
You don't have to do much. 3 or 4 plays a game.
Just unbelievable,
Just
man.
lace them up tight, baby.
Stick
them on and let's
has
go.
San Antonio been a track city, or
In
is
our
this
history, we have had probably more than our fair share of sprint champions.
Okay.
Out of Sam Houston on the east side. I remember back in the day, John Jay had a couple of sprint champs, and so did Holmes. So over the years, I think our track and field pretty good respect.
Nice.
We hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not like we haven't had a state title winner in baseball in 40 years. But
well,
but other than that.
Well, let me.
Which, by the way, South San West Campus, my alma mater, 1980,
last one, huh?
To win a state.
So, what about the last school that exists?
Well, that one. Let's just say that record will never be broken.
No,
it won't happen again.
No. Oh man. Well, also, by the way, a little personal news. I bought a house this weekend.
Yes, sir. You are now officially
I'm under contract
in a massive amount of debt. And part of the greater Bexar County region. We are happy to have you. Well earned.
Yeah, and hopefully, I don't know if my kid even wants to play baseball, but hopefully, if he does, then maybe he can help bring glory back to San Antonio
Which,
baseball.
by the way, we need to acknowledge the celebration that was had on Friday after work. We had ourselves a little bit of a libation, a little bit of the winkle, the Van Winks.
Yeah, we had some. We
celebratory.
I'm still drunk.
Woo, that was.
I was buzzing for a while.
We had like a small pour,
a nice little pour
of whiskey to celebrate to celebrate a year of doing the show.
And it was
that is the best I've ever tasted.
It was very, very good, but it was more about the group than the drink.
Yeah.
It was an appropriate celebration for a well done year.
I could have brought Jim Beam, but I thought you guys would prefer a little Pappy to the.
If
Jim
you
Beam.
like that kind of stuff, if you're into that.
Yeah, and even famous James apologized for being rude to me after
Yes,
after he got a taste of that.
He got a snort full of that.
But yeah, so good to know that at least I'm at least under contract. Crazier things have happened, but after a year here in San Antonio, I've got a house under contract.
366, and now you are a landowner. You're a property owner. You are a
Thank
voter.
you again for that. That was really good.
My pleasure, brother. I'm glad you enjoyed
stand.
it. Glad you enjoyed it.
And now the real work begins.
That's right. Now I got to not get fired.
Well, that, and you're gonna have to decorate a house.
Oh, that's woman's work.
Oh,
that ain't my job. To do
yeah.
that. I just pay to get it decorated.
I got a level. And I recommend you buy 3 or 4.
You need a yard guy?
If you don't have a level and at least 3 or 4 electric screwdrivers for what's coming, you're going to need.
Oh, you need an electric drill.
You need an
now?
electric screwdriver and a level. That is first and foremost.
I will say this: my wife, who, she actually didn't want this house is a much bigger house than what we need, but it's just like we put in an offer on a house that was more appropriate for the size of family that I have, and it fell through.
So now you have butler's quarters.
Yes. So now
room for kitty big ball.
Yeah, there is room for a kitty, but there's literally 4 living areas in this house, and our current house has 2. So we've got furnishing for 2 of them. And there's a media room in the new house, and the furniture is coming with it. So that's 3 rooms taken care of. But now there's a, quote, formal living room, which is something we don't have and don't really want. And guess what my wife sent me as an idea to do with the formal living room?
Weight room?
A hot tub villa.
Even better, friends.
A TV room.
A bar.
Oh,
of
she's
course.
like say dungeon.
Let's build in a bar to the wall with a wine fridge and a kegerator. And I'm like,
I'd go conversation pit, shag carpet, bean bags.
I said, you know what?
And lava
That'd be
lamps.
real long shag.
Really make an impression when people walk in. Really give them something to look at.
Have some bell bottoms
Bright
on.
orange shag carpet.
Maybe so. It's not out of the
Could be
question.
the talk of the neighborhood.
It's not out of the question. Jose says Central Catholic won a baseball title last year.
I said private, public, not private.
Okay, he's saying that doesn't
Hey,
count.
I'm down with
Sorry.
Central. That's right. They did win it. Absolutely.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rob says that doesn't count.
Yeah. Oh, no, it does count. And Incarnate Word won a girls' softball title, but, that's private.
Yeah. And Eric, yep, that good woman. Good woman. She willing to she barely even drinks too, but she knows that brings me joy. She knows that having a kegerator in my formal living room.
This, my brother, the first step to the next step in your life was buying the house. Now, you two, you've been a bit of a free-range chicken for the last year.
I know.
And I also spent that life as a free-range chicken. And that barbed wire, I meant chicken wire, barbed wire.
Same thing.
Yeah, you get hemmed in. You're in for. Everybody's in for a little bit of an adjustment.
I got a feeling I'm about to put on some weight.
Yeah, you will. There's no doubt about that.
Because I've eaten a lot of cereal and top ramen over the last year.
You're going to eat healthier, but you're going to eat more.
Yeah.
And those free,
you get a grill now.
You have those free
We'll
and
have a
easy
grill.
Saturday mornings and Sunday where you kind of just wake up and stretch and do it. That's gone.
It's gone.
You've spent a year away from some of the parts of wonderfully wedded bliss that you're going to have to re-familiarize yourself with.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that, but yeah, I think everybody's in for a great adjustment, and the fact that you've got a house, that's huge news. That really matters. That's one of those milestones.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Congratulations.
And now we've got a media room with like a gigantic projector TV.
Oh, did it come with the projector?
All comes along with it.
Still working?
Oh, yes.
Bulbs intact?
Everything's good to go. So we'll have a place to watch maybe a big fight, maybe a big game, maybe when the Spurs get back to the playoffs, we'll be able to watch it there. All those things.
You hear that, Mitch?
The finale of Righteous Gemstones.
Trying to get an invite to the media room, Mitch. I mean, that's things that really matter.
Eric says, I'll have my designated HEB. Got to find my designated taqueria to get breakfast tacos. So, yeah, you're right. We got to figure out what works around there for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you call that part of town?
I always, do you want it out there?
I don't care.
I mean, say you're northern Stone Oak.
Okay.
When people ask you, you'll say I'm Stone Oak.
Okay.
You're north of that. You're a little north of that.
Because I feel like it's east of Stone Oak.
Well, it is.
So
but when people ask you and they go, like, you just meet somebody, go, where do you live?
An East Sider.
You'll say I'm Stone Oak, and you say I'm east of 281.
Okay.
And people know.
Because it's about between 281 and the TPC.
Yeah,
course.
and TPC might be a better kind of signpost, but as far as the neighborhood, I think you're considered Stone Oak.
Okay.
At least in my mind. For you Stone Oakers, let me know. I could be wrong.
That's right. And Nosmarba says ghetto. Absolutely ghetto. It is
That is the ghetto part of Stone Oak.
Yeah, he's in the mean streets of Stone Oak. Oh, man.
Literally, while I was touring the house with my realtor.
You heard gunshots?
No, my car. I went back out to my car, and it was on cinder blocks. And I was like, oh.
That's the neighborhood.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one.
We're home, babe.
It's the one, baby. It is the one. All right. It is a Mellow Mushroom Monday. We're going to give away Mellow Mushroom $50 gift card later on. I got to give away something right now. How about Citizen Soldier, the Heart Support Tour? 10 years in Adelita's Way, August 28th at the Aztec Theater. Go see Citizen Soldier. Do we have any Citizen Soldier we can play there, Vic, so we can have an idea?
Is that a band?
Well, yeah. What do you mean?
I didn't know.
I mean, it could be just a
like
person who's a
show?
soldier.
Like a.
I don't know. Vic's gonna pull it up. Here we go.
Oh, here it is.
This is better off broken.
The band was formed in a psychiatric hospital in 2016.
Perfect timing. Get a bunch of loons together and say, hey, you guys know how to play the drums?
But this is how the show was formed.
Little known fact, they all played the drums when they met. They all had to learn other instruments to make a real band. I feel like crazy people always play the drums.
Yeah.
Their goal is to shine a light on the everyday struggles of those who feel overlooked and unappreciated.
That's actually me.
They're aiming the spotlight right on me.
Yeah, this video's a trip, too.
Well, if you want to go see this this show, caller number 2. You're going to win tickets to go see Citizen Soldier August 28th at the Aztec Theater. And if you don't want them, you can buy them at livenation.com. Did you think San Antonio's own Ramon Cardenas was going to upset the Monster after 4 rounds last night? Anyway, knocked him down. Very impressed. I saw Inoue was eating cake before the fight. I was like, what is this dude doing? He is just, honestly, Inoue he is such a breath of fresh air to boxing, especially watching that Canelo fight was so boring. Ugh.
That dude ran for...
Put
in about 3 miles.
And all he did was throw a bunch of punches that didn't land. I didn't think Inoue had any chance of losing, but I'm glad that he made it a fight, and I'm glad that they were able to put on a good show. It was a fantastic, fun fight to watch, and that's all I'm really looking for.
He was in good shape. Backing up.
All right, halfway there, baby. We'll be back. Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. KTFM Floresville.
This report is sponsored by Thomas J. Henry Injury Attorneys, available 24/7.
An accident can leave you struggling to pay for medical bills. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe you deserve justice, no matter your financial situation. That's why you don't pay us unless we win your case. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
When it comes to results, the numbers speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry secured over $1 billion for clients in the past 4 years and successfully represented thousands of injured Texans. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. San Antonio, Texas.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at TSAOG.com.
Lowe's helps refresh your garden in time for Mother's Day. Right now, get 5 bags of 1.5 cubic foot Scott's Naturescapes mulch for just $10. Plus, select 1.5 gallon annuals hanging baskets make the perfect gift. Now 2 for only $15. The best garden starts with great deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147, 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. We are dealing with a closure on Loop 410 on the access road northbound. Riddiman to Eisenhower vehicle fire. It's been tapped out. Fire department on scene, still causing some delays in the area. On 410 northbound at Rigsby, that is an accident now off to the shoulder and slowing down along Highway 90 eastbound 211 on over to 1604. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
The NBA playoffs continued last night as the Golden State Warriors exited the Houston Rockets in Game 7, 103-89. The Golden State Warriors were paced by Buddy Hield's 33 points, 9 3-pointers. In Game 1 of the second round of Eastern Conference playoffs, Indiana snuck up and beat Cleveland in Cleveland, 121-112. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
8:02 on the Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. We haven't even gotten into the current state of basketball, because there is one.
It wasn't a great day yesterday. It was a good day. We saw some good basketball.
We saw some Rockets looked like they were going to get blown out early. Fought their way back into it, cut the lead to 3, I believe, in late in the third quarter, and then got absolutely hammered for the rest of the game. Warriors 103-89 win over the Rockets. Send the Rockets packing. Warriors on to round 2 to take on the Timberwolves. And you mentioned it a little earlier in the show. This is just sort of the growing pains.
The maturation process of a team.
Top to bottom, the Rockets probably have a better roster than the Warriors. Besides, I mean, really, it's
if you assign stars, they have more stars. I mean, like Steph would be a 5-star.
Yeah.
And Draymond would be a 3-star. But if you assign stars to every player, there's more stars sitting on the Houston bench than there are on the Golden State bench. But the one thing you cannot quantify is just understanding how to win basketball games.
And on a day where Steph wasn't at his best, Jimmy Butler was good, not great. Brendan Podziemski was, quite frankly, not good. Buddy freaking Hield shows up. 9 of 11 from 3. This is a little known fact about basketball, Rob. I've discovered
something about shooting, huh?
If you score 36 more points from 3 than your opponent, you almost always win.
Unless you were so desperately behind.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And Houston, man, they just were young and dumb. Just dumb. It just, they couldn't shoot very well, but they knew they couldn't shoot. They normally have they can normally overcome that. And it just felt like they kept trying. They just couldn't get in sync. Van Vliet did everything a human being could do to get his team to move into it. It just, youth was not served.
No, and this team, listen, man, Amin Thompson is so good. Sengun is so good. Like, the future is really bright for this team. It's just they weren't ready. They needed to.
And let's not kid ourselves. It was, for a moment in the first half, 5-on-7. They allowed Golden State to absolutely mug the Rockets. They were allowed to do just about anything they wanted to do. And unless it obviously affected the shooter's arm, everything else was allowed to go. So they were allowed to knock Houston out of their game.
In a game, well, let's not forget what Dylan Brooks said after Game 5.
Hey, man, they brought it on themselves. But
Dylan Brooks said, like, the Warriors were complaining about how physical the Rockets were being with Steph, and Dylan Brooks said, if the game's too physical for you, maybe play tennis. And then Game 6 was basically a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Game 7 was very physical.
They got at him.
And you know what? The Rockets got 21 free throws. The Warriors only got 9. I'm not going to feel bad for, like, this is what you said you wanted. It was your home court. You got more foul calls. It was a physical game, and they put it on you.
They got beat up, and they couldn't respond. Physically, they just got knocked off kilter. Shots were there. The offense was kind of in sync. They just missed shots, and then they missed the putbacks and some dumb early mistakes that they just couldn't run their way out of.
Rockets need a shooter long term. They need, well.
And Van Vliet, I think they need another speedier point guard, too. I think they get slowed down a little bit. But shooting will fix a lot of problems. Reed Geddes is on the bench. He'll help some.
Reed Shepherd.
Yeah,
eventually he'll get. And that was the kind of the thought when they drafted him was like, okay, that's what they need. And then he just hasn't been a factor for them.
He'll be there next year. I mean, this team, after the pain goes away, they're going to wake up Wednesday, Thursday next week. Future's bright in Houston. Just a couple appropriate moves. But it's just so tough to lose to a team that you know that at least physically you're better than.
Yeah.
You know, we're just more gifted, but we got outsmarted.
Well, like you said, it's part of the process. I mean, certainly they'll be back. This is a pretty good little core here.
Yeah. Jalen Green might not be. But
Jalen Green had he was not very good this series, to put it politely. He had like one good game the whole series. But Amin Thompson and Alperen Şengün are, to me, if you had say these are my 1-2 for the future, I'd feel pretty damn good about that situation. And the thing about Jalen Green is, even if he's not there long term, you'll be able to get a nice return for him.
Oh no! Yeah.
Like, there's somebody who thinks like he'll fit what they do. And you know what? Maybe he'll stick with the Rock. I don't know, but. Either way, Warriors now move on to play the Timberwolves. Remember last year, that was speaking of a street fight, there was like literal fighting going on.
They don't like each other.
No, which I'm kind of stoked for.
Oh man, I hope for the kind of execution that we saw in the Cleveland Pacer game, where both teams are just rocking it on offense. I hope to see that with Minnesota. If both these teams bring their offense, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Also yesterday, the Indiana Pacers came out strong.
Yeah,
really kind of put it on Cleveland early on in the game, and Cleveland never really recovered. No Darius Garland, I think, is a big deal for them, but and Donovan Mitchell going 1 of 11 from 3, not ideal. But they got a really good showing from Evan Mobley. They got good stuff from Ty Jerome off the bench, and still got blown out. Well, I say blown out. They lost by 9 points to a team that they were projected to beat by 8 points. Pacers just kept coming in waves. And when you've got guys like Ben Mathurin and Obi Toppin coming off the bench and doing work, it's a lot, man. And Siakam was very good. Andrew Nembhard. Andrew Nembhard, who doesn't get nearly as much credit as he deserves. That guy, especially in the playoffs, he seems to step his game up.
It unleashed Halliburton. Once Nembhard took over as kind of the lead, it unleashed Halliburton to go and be the offensive threat that really it opened things up. They missed Garland, Cleveland did, but that's not why they lost. They got out-coached, number one. Carlisle backdoor cut and outran them. But if Evan Mobley has to be a much bigger offensive threat, Miles Turner is about all they're offering on the front line. Evan is going to have to be more involved in this offense. That's the key here. And if they can get him going, Garland matters, but the difference in the game should be the front line. And Jared Allen's not going to be an offensive threat, but he's going to be in and out. Okoro and Evan Mobley are going to have to step their game up, or this could get weird. I think they're capable of it. Mobley certainly is, but I don't want to take anything away from what Carlisle had this team doing. Boy, they're clicking. And you forget how deep the Pacers are. Cleveland's probably the deepest team in all of basketball when Garland's healthy, but the Pacers can go just about man for man to about 9. I mean, they got 4 dudes that can legitimately offer you valuable minutes in a playoff game.
Yeah, so this series that I thought was kind of going to be a runaway for the Cavs just got interesting.
It's going to go 7.
I had said Cavs in 5.
Ooh, I was wrong.
Might have been off on that.
Cleveland, I mean, there was –
well, you had said, because you had said the Thunder, you're a little worried about the Thunder tonight. But you said, I don't worry about the Cavs because they're just so big. There's no way. But game one's changed your mind now?
Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't realize one thing, and I witnessed this a couple of times. One year it'll go down in infamy when the Spurs were, if they weren't the number 1 team in the West, they were real close. David Robinson got the not MVP, but the IBM award, and it was right before Game 1 against the Houston Rockets, and we're filled the dome, and David gets his prize, his award, and we're like, yeah, we're better than Houston, and go nuts, and Houston immediately just kicks us in the nuts in that first game.
There is lore about Hakeem watching David Robinson accept that trophy and being like angry.
Well, and Bob Hill eventually paid the price on this because he got fired because he never gave David any help. But then last night, Cleveland is celebrating a lot like San Antonio did with Mobley getting the first runner-up Defensive Player of the Year, the award that nobody's going to get for the next 5 years, not named Victor. And they were talking about pregame how nuts that place was. And Indiana started the game and punched him in the face in the first 5 minutes, and the fans never recovered, much less the Cavaliers.
Well, good start for Indiana. They'll try and keep it rolling tomorrow. But we do start a couple other series tonight. We get some action. The Celtics, the defending champs, back in action against the Knicks. That'll be the early game. I think the Celtics roll through the Knicks. I think the Knicks stink. I've said it all year long. I don't believe in this team. If the Pistons had any kind of experience, I think they would have beat the Knicks. The Celtics just seem on a different level to me. I'll be shocked if the Knicks make this a real series.
Yeah, probably gentleman's sweep here. Maybe they get 2. But this is every outcome of every game will not be predicated on anything other than the 3-point shooting for Boston. If it's what they normally do, they're going to run past the Knicks in 4 or 5. I mean, it's going to be fast.
And then the 8:30 tip, Thunder host the Nuggets for Game 1. We didn't really talk about it but over the weekend, the Nuggets obliterate the Clippers in Game 7.
It was such a letdown.
That was what I like to refer to as a James Harden playoff Game 7 special.
Yep.
Where he's done enough to fool you into thinking he might be different.
No, that's still James.
He's still James, baby. Still James. Some things never change. And playoff Game 7 James, 7 points in defeat. 7 points for James. And, a pretty complete team performance by the Nuggets. They had all 5 starters in double digits. Russell Westbrook, obviously, off the bench. He was in double digits. Everybody did their job. It wasn't like it was just the Jokic show. He had an okay game.
Yeah. It was everything Denver needed. You know what I mean? We know what Jokic is capable of, but Jamal Murray got some timely stuff. They played well. Aaron Gordon had some timely stuff. I mean, it was everything that team needed to carry on through the playoffs. It was just a well-executed game. I can tell you this. I think young Adelman just got himself a job.
I think so, too.
I think it'd be hard to let him go.
And Kawhi Leonard scores 22 points. Nobody else on the Clippers had more than 13 points. Kobe Brown had 13 off the bench in garbage time. Yeah. Kawhi got no help offensively. All the guys, Zubac was great on the boards, not great on offense. Harden was a 0 on offense. Norman Powell was bad. All the guys who had stepped up just didn't step up on the road.
Congratulate James Harden. He's now lost a Game 7 for 4 different franchises.
What a guy.
He just keeps
the only guy who's done that?
All the way around the league. I can't imagine somebody else has done that.
What a powerful aura it must take to do things like that.
Now, his response is, at least we're getting to Game 7.
Is that what he said?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
I was going to say that's the most.
That would be a very hard thing to say, though.
I was going to say, I'm surprised he cares enough to even address it. Loser. What a loser. I should have known.
You know, that's a team full of old dogs, and they just looked around and realized that their primary dog didn't have it. And Norman Powell was just was awful. It was just an absolute destruction. Denver just destroyed them at every turn.
Yep. It ended up being 5-on-1 because, again, Kawhi just didn't have any help. And you know what? Kudos to – I know nobody around here likes to say nice things, but Kawhi made this team relevant down the stretch in a way that I really didn't anticipate. I thought coming into the season the Clippers weren't even going to be a playoff team. And when they got Kawhi back and healthy, I think they put a scare into some people. They made me a believer.
Yeah. Two-way Kawhi, and when he's fully functioning on both sides of the court, there's not too many players in the world like
No, and we kind of forget because he's hardly ever on the court. But when he is, it is still a dangerous thing. He's just not Jokic level at this point, and it's hard to beat. Now, will it be hard for the Thunder? I don't know. I've said all along, it's the Thunder or bust for me. It'll blow my mind if anything other than the Thunder in the finals is a thing. I still stand by that.
They got to watch Cleveland get surprised.
Sure.
You know, the good news is they know that it can happen no matter how good you're thinking about yourself, that they can jump up and get you. And it's easy to say that, but it also helps a whole lot when you have your kids watch it happen.
I imagine the Thunder are on high alert that is a thing, and I would the Celtics too, for that matter. You just can't roll out the ball.
Yeah, I think the Celtics will have to deal with a little bit of arrogance. They know they own the Knicks. You know, they're not stupid, so they're going to have to watch their P's and Q's because, Jalen can jump up and beat you. I mean, those guys can jump up and get a game or two. So they just have to – I think they have to be more mindful of arrogance because I do think they look at that team and go, we're better just about every position on the court but point guard.
The matchups this season between OKC and Denver split 2-2. You had it – now some of these the Thunder won in Denver 102-87, the very first game of the season. November, they lost at Denver by 2. Denver won 124-122, and then they played back-to-back games in OKC, a 127-103 Thunder win and a 140-127 Nuggets win. And when I say back-to-back, I mean like 2 days in a row, same floor, one of those situations. These two teams apparently the
matchup's interesting. They're both playing at a very high level. I expect high execution, and pace is going to matter. Whoever dominates and finds their pace, I think, gets the game. I feel like Denver probably has a little bit of a slight upper hand just because they're fresh. I mean, not fresher, but they're fresher off a court, and they know that they're playing really, really well and played more recently. And I think Oklahoma City's going to have to shake some rust off. But if they can start fast, Denver played really well to beat the Clippers. But even at their best, Oklahoma City is a different animal altogether. They're facing something very different.
That's where I'm at. I don't know.
We're talking about power in the middle. Jokic is going to be looking over a street lamp trying to get buckets, and the defensive help that comes, and the speed on the edge, and then you've got Shai Gilgeous, who is just not going to make a mistake. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to make the right decision 9 out of 10 times, and you can't afford to make a mistake. It's just a different world as good as Denver's looked. I still think Oklahoma City's got a not just a I think it's 4-2. I don't see Denver getting 3 games in this for sure. I think it's 6 games.
Chris says, AJ, the way you feel about Harden, that's how I feel about Kawhi. I think that's how most Spurs fans feel about Kawhi. But again, I was talking about Minix with this. I watched I went up to the Rue Pub and watched the Canelo fight with Minix on Saturday, and we were talking about that. And I said, the difference is Kawhi won you a ring, and they're like, you can be mad, but you can at least say there was a happy time with him. James Harden was always a loser in Houston. Has always been a loser. Will always be a loser. I know Kawhi did. I know Kawhi did the Spurs dirty, but there's always a ring with Kawhi's name on it. And if the worst thing you can say to that is, well, he also cost us a ring, which Minix said. I said
that's true. Make your free throws, son.
I said that's fair, but are you sniffing that? Are you sniffing the possibility of that ring without him?
No, there's no way.
I mean, he was.
Yeah. Think about that team.
He was driving that team, and James Harden also driving the Rockets straight into the dumpster year after year because that's what he does. Loser. All right. Let's hit a break. I'm gonna give a warning to the audience here. This is a tease, but also a warning. Some of you are going to be disinterested in this next topic. I'm going to talk about 10 minutes of hockey. Now, I'm not going to talk about certain players. I'm not going to talk about it like that. I'm just going to talk about a couple scenarios that happened this weekend that make playoff hockey the best thing in sports. We'll do that next. Morning Huddle 94.1.
Lowe's helps refresh your garden in time for Mother's Day. Right now, get 5 bags of 1.5 cubic foot Scott's Naturescapes mulch for just $10. Plus, select 1.5 gallon annuals hanging baskets make the perfect gift. Now 2 for only $15. The best garden starts with great deals. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here with my good friends from Prize Picks. I'm just one of millions of members of Prize Picks that play daily fantasy sports every day, and things just keep getting better. How about 2,000x on your cash today? That's right, cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your best chance to add your favorite players from the court on Prize Picks lineup. And whether it's points, rebounds, assists, and whatever else, take your pick more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000x your cash today. Turn up your playoff hot takes into tickets on basketball and championship winnings every day. And there's stuff going on all week. Every Tuesday, Prize Picks will discount several projections on the board. They take up to 15 to 25% off savings and fun. And then there's Big Flex Friday. Those picks that don't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds up to your limit as soon as the lineup settles. Hey, there's money back. That's why I love Prize Picks. 2,000 times your money and some free ones. Download Prize Picks. Use the code ALAMO for 50 free bucks. That's Prize Picks. Go run your game.
Hey, San Antonio, multiple tours overseas, years of protecting the country, it all adds up at University of Maryland Global Campus. Earn up to 90 credits for prior learning, military experience, and training toward our low-cost degree and certificate programs. We call that credit where credit is due. For over 75 years, our dedicated success coaches have been helping service members achieve their goals. Get started with local support and online and hybrid courses right here in San Antonio. Visit UMGC at San Antonio or umgc.edu/SATX.
At the Institute for Functional Health, we are dedicated to helping you live life fully, playing with your kids, golfing, and feeling great without relying on pills. We're not about treating symptoms temporarily. We're about extending your health span, the years you live in good health. I'm Dr. Torres, and for over a decade, my team has transformed lives by tackling health issues at the root. Tired of medications without real answers? Take control of your health with us. Call 210-468-1891 for a free Discovery Day consultation or visit IFFhealth.com. Improve your health span today.
Hi, my name's Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney and have been representing people injured in auto and commercial truck collisions right here in San Antonio, my hometown, since 1994. Getting into a collision can be a life-altering event. Your health and recovery is the only thing that really matters, and anyone that's ever been injured in a traffic collision will tell you that. How do you get the insurance company to pay? Simple. Call me. As your attorney, my job is to get you through this. The decisions you make immediately after a collision are the most important decisions you can make. If you call me as soon as you can after a collision, I will help you make the right decisions for you and your family. Remember, I do not charge for a consultation. Growing up on the southwest side of San Antonio, when Loop 410 was the edge of town, I know how overwhelming it could be to face a giant insurance company all on your own. Just keep it simple. Call me. My number is 210-900-0400. That's 900-0400. Or go to my website at lawyerforus.com.
DQ presents How to Hit Summer's Sweet Spot. The new DQ Summer Blizzard Treat menu is here. And as the official treat of MLB, we're swinging big with our fan favorite S'mores Blizzard Treat. Plus, new mixing bowl mashup with brownie batter and chocolate chip cookie dough. And even more in our Stack Summer lineup. Hurry in today because nothing says summer like baseball and our new Summer Blizzard Treat menu. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Dave says, you guys need to stop making excuses for Kawhi. The guy's the most overrated player. Practically skip half the season to get ready for the playoffs and didn't get it done.
Yeah, but
he's not overrated.
Dude, he won 2 rings with 2 franchises. It is.
He's an utter. You can name a lot of things, but he's not overrated. He's physically not what he was, but at his prime, he was as good a two-way player as anybody in the NBA ever has been.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think the last time there was a player that was that level as a two-way guy. I mean, probably have to go back to Kobe.
Well, Kobe, Michael in that strain. Now, certainly the longevity and a lot of other things. He's not them, but he's in the same paragraph.
Yeah, don't let your feelings about him.
That's why I hate him even more. It's legitimately. You think about how this team and how the plans that the Spurs have been so successful in laying and implementing time after time. And the plan was in place. Everything was in order. The scepter, the throne was about to be passed to the next, and progress would have been. And what ensued was
he threw a curveball.
It turned a franchise. I'm not going to go as far as clown show, but it turned a franchise on its ear for 7 years.
It put them into a clown phase.
It did. And it's not their fault.
No.
Some of it was. I think in hindsight, everybody looks at this situation, and if we'd have read the tea leaves correctly, you might have seen some things and noticed some things a little bit earlier.
Could they have done something different with Kawhi? Like, could they have handled Kawhi differently that would have made his...
I think we should have realized very early on that everything he was saying and doing was not a joke, was not leverage. It was, I want to go to Los Angeles, and I don't care who it hurts or even if it hurts me. I'm going back home. Uncle Denny wants me to go, and I don't like it here. You guys questioned my veracity and my, he said his quad was, Tony Parker said, man, my quad was that bad, was twice as bad, and I came back twice as fast. I'm paraphrasing, but he felt slighted, and he used that as the pivot point to get out and go to Los Angeles. That's where he wanted to be, and it didn't matter how, where, when, it didn't matter. He was going.
Fair enough. Yeah,
we should have known.
Yeah. All right. I said I wanted to give you guys a little taste of what happened this weekend. 2 times this weekend, a team was down 2 goals or more in the final period of the hockey games, and in both cases, the team that was down 2 came back and won. Now, maybe one of my worst beats, I was sitting at the Rue Pub with Jason watching this happen. I had under 5.5 goals in the Avalanche Stars game. It was 1-0 going into the third period.
That's a bad beat.
The Avalanche scored, made it 2-0. Then the Stars proceed to score 3 goals in I felt like a 5-minute span. And now suddenly I said, okay, the problem with this becomes It was 3-2 with 4 minutes to go. And I said, because I was really hoping it was going to be 2-2 and go to overtime. Then I couldn't lose. When they scored a third goal, I said, now is where 5.5 goes to die because there's going to be an empty net.
Has to be.
And sure enough, with 3 seconds left in the game, Dallas goes down and scores an empty netter to make it 4-2.
Okay, so well, that's kind of
kicking the taint.
Well, that's kind of the answer, or part of the answer to my question.
Okay.
What is it about hockey specifically that lends itself to the last 3-minute comeback like you're talking about? Because it seems to happen more often than it should in this sport other than others. And why is that?
Well, I'll tell you, because the game yesterday is an even better example than that, because that game was 3-2. Well, first of all, it was 3-1, and the Blues Jets game, Blues were up 3-1. The Jets scored with 1:56 to go to make it 3-2. And then they pull their goalie, and now you're playing 6-on-5. So it's all the action happens down on the offensive end, and you're basically taking that chance that if they clear the puck and get it past you, it's an easy goal and the game's over. But it's desperation mode. You got to go for it.
I get that part, but there just seems – is it because the way the lines work that you'll spread your talent thin for line after line after line, and then the last 3 minutes – all your best are out there? Is that what it is? Like, finally, I've got my 7 dudes that I've been splitting 3 line, and finally the last one, I got all my best.
Everybody's out there right now trying to pile one in. Like you said, you'll take defensive players off. You'll take the goalie off for sure, but your defensemen come off for an extra shooter.
So that's coaching.
It's desperation.
Desperation, but also, I mean, if you're monitoring your line changes and you're going, well, I got 3 of my guys on this line and 3 guys on this line, whatever it might be, but at the end of the game, I have to have these 6 guys out there. That, to me, goes back to administration and coaching and just solid understanding of who my guys are and when I need them out there.
It's not much different from the NBA. I mean, you're going to play your guys longer shifts when it's nut-cutting time.
Yeah, but there just seems to be hockey more than soccer and certainly more than football. The last 2 minutes of a playoff, it just seems like it is an entirely different game. Like with the first 2 and 3 quarters periods were played one way, but now we're to the last 2, and it doesn't really even matter the score. It could be 3-1. The game suddenly goes from what it was to that last 2 minutes where it's played a different way.
Yep. And then, and speaking to that, the Jets scored the tying goal. Remind you, this is a Game 7. That was a CNI goal too, man. God wanted the Jets to win. They scored a goal with 3 seconds left in the game to send it to overtime. It then goes to double overtime, and 16 minutes into that second overtime, the Jets finish off the comeback and get the win.
How many people in Winnipeg went to work today?
I would imagine almost none.
Everybody hungover and happy.
I mean,
but there are not a lot of people at work.
I can't imagine that they are. If they are, they're not getting much work done.
My God, to be down at the end and to win in double overtime to take Game 7, that might go right down with winning a world championship, at least for an hour. At least for an hour.
There are 3 Canadian teams still alive, as Canada still hasn't won a Stanley Cup in, I don't know, a billion years.
So sorry to hear
They're keeping hope alive. The first one starts their Eastern Conference semifinals tonight. The Maple Leafs take on the Panthers.
Best goalie in hockey.
I don't know
his name. Well, he's the meanest.
He is the meanest. The battle of 2 American teams, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals, start tomorrow, along with the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. And then the Dallas Stars get the Winnipeg Jets. So that'll start on Wednesday. They got a little rest after playing, double overtime. They're gonna let them rest up a little bit. But if you watched the end of that Winnipeg Blues game and you weren't enthralled, you're not a sports person, because when you're talking about your season is down to the last 3 seconds and people are all piled around the goalie, battering the puck, trying to get it in, and it goes in. It's like, and a team that with less than 2 minutes to go had a 2-goal lead, thought they were safe, and now they're sitting at home. Oh, it's just It is. There's such jubilation and such brutality in it, and I love it. I love it. I always say, man, if there's a Game 7 in a hockey game going on, it's the same with the NBA. If you get a Game 7 and you turn it on and there's 2 minutes left in the game, and it's within 4 or 5 points, I'm watching. I don't care who's playing. Yeah. If you turn on a Game 7 hockey game and it's a 1-goal game, you better be watching, because it is going to be dudes who are playing like their entire life. Like, literally, they'll die if they don't win. I love it, man. I love it, love it, love it. All right, enough hockey for the day. We won't bore you with any more of it. But I did want to talk about that.
That was good, though. I like
6 times in history, a team has trailed by 2 or more going into the third period, or had a 2-goal lead in the third, or a 2-goal deficit in the third period, come back and won. 2 of the 6 times in history it happened this weekend. Just incredible.
And I missed it.
You did.
I did.
What were you watching instead?
Probably
that Tom Hardy Kill 'Em All movie.
Some kind of Office rerun. I don't know.
What's going on in there, Vic? You break your microphone?
Wow.
Well, you saw that, right?
That happened to me my first week
day.
here.
Yeah, I think it was literally your first day.
Shocker. All right. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the third hour of the this time is flying by here, Rom. Time is flying by. It's the Morning Huddle 94.1.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still have a closure. Vehicle fire, 18-wheeler accident on East 410 on the Access Road. Northbound Riddiman to Eisenhower is still closed. On 410 northbound at Rigsby, this wreck has been moved off to the shoulder. Rolling a bit slowly, 90 eastbound 211 on over to 1604. And a stall at I-10 eastbound Vance Jackson has been moved off a main lane, now off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radio.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them, and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
Being arrested isn't just a setback. It's a nightmare that can destroy your life and reputation. At Barton & Associates, we're here to make sure your one bad night doesn't turn into a lifetime of regret. Contact Barton & Associates today at TexasArrest.com. That's TexasArrest.com.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half-off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
All right, Jesus says same thing happened in the World Cup final, and that was more exciting than hockey. First of all, soccer is slow-motion hockey with flopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it had happened in the World Cup.
No.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that happening either.
I'm sure it did.
A tying goal with 3 seconds left? I didn't see that. I feel like
I don't remember
about that,
but
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe so. All right. Still.
I'm not denigrating. I just don't care.
Somebody probably fell down and grabbed his leg to try and draw a yellow card, and that's what let the game tying goal
That's
score.
The one thing the international game has taught me is the value of cold spray. Wish they had that. Whatever that stuff is, I think we need it in America because that stuff that works.
Yeah, it does.
The Athletic did a they got the staff together and said, here are 4 potential deals for Giannis that could maybe pique some interest. And the very first one on the list, and what they did was they had multiple people take a look at it and say why they think it would work, why they say it wouldn't work. The very first one on the list is Giannis to San Antonio. And it says the Bucks get Zion Williamson, which tells you obviously there's a third team involved here. Zion Williamson, Keldon Johnson, the Spurs 2025 first-round pick via the Hawks, 2027 first-round pick swap rights with the Pelicans, and the Spurs 2029 first-round pick. The Pelicans get Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Pat Connaughton, and the 2027 first-round Spurs pick from the Hawks. Spurs get Giannis. Initial thought, Spurs giving up basically 3 firsts.
Well, they still have Castle,
Vassell, Keldon, and Sohan.
Well, they still have Wemby, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox, and they add Giannis. I take the deal. I mean, if that's the deal out there, and I get to keep my Rookie of the Year on that rookie salary cap for the next couple of years, knowing full well, I take the deal.
I would certainly take that deal if I'm the Spurs.
But I don't. I'm willing to listen to anybody, just about anything. I'm not giving up my youth. I'm not giving up Castle, and I'm not giving up Wemby. Everybody else I'll discuss.
I think I'd discuss Castle if we're talking about Giannis.
I would discuss, but I'll tell you what. That gives you short-term and long-term favor because you got Giannis just kicking into that brand-new deal for another couple of years. You're still in good shape with Wemby and Castle as far as age.
Yeah.
I'm willing to part with just about anything, but if I can hold on to Steph Castle and get Wemby, it is a done deal. Yes, I'm in.
But adding Wemby,
and I get the 26 number 1 because we're holding out for AJ DeBansa, who's might be the next Cooper Flagg, who was the next Victor.
Adding Wemby, or not Wemby, adding Giannis would take this team's timeline from potential playoff team next year to
if we're not in the finals in 2 years.
You're a contender.
Yeah,
like
if we're not in the
immediately
finals in 2 years, then we've made a mistake.
Like think about what your starting lineup would be: Fox, Castle, Barnes, Giannis, Wemby,
and lottery pick this year.
Yeah, and more than likely that means Chris Paul re-signs to be a backup. Like he would understand suddenly.
Probably
he'd understand the game. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It ain't
now. here's what they put this guy in charge, this Bucks guy. They put him in charge of how the Bucks would feel about this, like made him play GM. He said, this is nowhere near enough for Giannis.
And he's right.
Zion, while incredibly talented, is a lottery ticket. In 6 seasons, he's played 214 of a possible 472 games. He only appeared in 30 last season. Any package for Giannis will need to be rich in both players and picks, and this is not rich enough in either. And if the Bucks are going to be part of any trade with the Pelicans, they need to get their full rights back to their 2026 and 27 first-rounders. So he's saying, from a Bucks standpoint, absolutely not.
I agree with that. It's not enough.
Giannis to Philly. Bucks get Paul George, Jared McCain, 2025 first, 2028 first, 2029 pick swap, 2030 first. Sixers get Giannis.
We're getting close, but I don't think I'm asking for a better player than McCain.
There is, like, you're going to be taking on age 35 to 37 Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George is, I'm doing you a favor. I'll take that on, and I'll eat that. But you're going to send me a player. You're going to have to send me somebody of value, and Jared McCain ain't enough.
Like, I would be more interested if instead of Paul George's name, it said Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, yeah.
Now we can have a conversation.
I think Philly will stick on, they're not going to move Maxey. So I think that's why I don't think this deal's going to happen.
Giannis to Toronto. Bucks get Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, Grady Dick, 27, 29, 30, 31 first-round picks, 28 pick swap, 2030 pick swap, and the Raptors get Giannis and Kyle Kuzma.
That is the best deal, except for the Raptors having to take that Kuzma bag of garbage. But as far as Milwaukee, that's their best deal, man. They're getting picks and talent.
Now, it does say, it says they would all be top 1 protected.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said there will be no protections on any picks sent in a trade for Giannis.
No, you can't do that. But I think as far as the number of picks, we're getting into the realm because they literally have none. So they're really chasing draft picks right now.
And he brings up, remember the Knicks gave up 4 unprotected firsts.
It's going to take 4.
A top 4 protected first and an unprotected first-round pick swap for Mikal Bridges, who is nowhere near.
It's going to take 4
Giannis.
Unprotected first-round draft picks. That's what it's going to take.
But, I mean, Barnes, Barrett, and Grady Dick, that's a pretty good
haul. Yeah, I think as far as all the offers out there, if you were a general manager, I got youth, I got picks, I got guys that can fill several different positions. It makes the best deal, and I think Okoro's got future. I mean, it's untapped.
Okay, now here's one that is kind of interesting. This is another 3-way trade. Giannis to Houston. Bucks get Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Donovan Clingan, a 2025 first, 2027 first, 2029 first, 28 and 30 pick swaps. Rockets get Giannis and Jeremy Grant. Trailblazers get Alperen Sengun and Jock Landale.
Man, does Houston want to make that deal?
They would be. I mean, think about a deal where they give up Sengun, Thompson, Jalen Green, and Kim Whitmore all at once.
I mean, that's a great deal for Milwaukee. I'm just not sure Houston wants to make that deal. Why? Why would you do that? Sengun is an all-star for the next 10 years. Already, you can see it. This guy is legitimately your best player, and you're going to trade about him and your next best player. And on the top, that's just too much. I wouldn't make that deal if I was Houston.
Now he as the Bucks GM, he said this is. I still need some more in this package, but this is getting close.
Yeah.
He says any trade offer from the Rockets will require Thompson, and obviously, he's the youngest. He's got the most upside. He says, but I'd be curious to see if I could get Tari Eason or Jabari Smith instead of Jalen Green. He's only 23, but his contract extension kicks in next season, and I don't know if he's worth that raise.
He might be right, but you'll not get more young talent from anybody than that deal. You might want somebody different, but man, oh man, you're bringing in 2 future All-Stars plus draft picks. That's a hell of a deal that I don't see Houston making.
And it's easy. Yeah, I can't imagine they would give up that much, even for Giannis, because then what are you? Like, you're Giannis and Nothing.
what he was in Milwaukee, guys that are circling in your hope.
Without Dame Lillard. It doesn't make any sense.
But it is Giannis.
It is Giannis.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think there might be 10 players in the league I would say I wouldn't trade under any circumstance for Giannis. None of them are on the Rockets, but I just wouldn't trade all of them.
It's too much.
You know, to give up Sengun and Amin Thompson and Jalen Green, it's just I don't know. I don't know what your team is.
Those are kind of like draft picks. I would not. I mean, because they're so young, that you'd have opportunity to keep those guys for a minute. I'd give, if I'm Houston, if I am doing that, I'm keeping my draft picks. You know, you can get talent and a few draft picks, or talent and no draft picks, but I'm not giving away both.
That is a lot. It is a lot. But yeah, but I think what this exercise, what it really points out is, it's very difficult to come together with a proposal that works for both sides because it can sound ridiculous no matter what lens you look at it through.
Who's the dude defending the Milwaukee trade?
Eric Name.
So Eric Name, let's come and talk next year with an angry Giannis about Christmas.
Yeah.
About, 6 weeks before the trade
You
deadline.
ain't getting that offer.
And see what kind of offers are crossing your desk, because it won't look like this.
Yeah. There is no way. I don't see how the Bucks would be able to pass on that. But I also don't see how the Rockets could do it.
No, the Rockets won't do it. Now, the Spurs one, I'm telling you, if that's a deal that that's a no-brainer. I'd do it. I'd shoot. Yeah, if I get to keep Castle, I still have De'Aaron Fox, and I got Giannis to hang around for a couple more. I haven't given up that many draft picks. I still have my 26 and 1 overall. I'm pretty happy with that deal.
I'm not remotely interested in that if I'm the Bucks.
No, I don't think we have enough.
Like, getting Zion Williamson back is like, yeah, thanks. No, thanks, but no thanks.
They can fix him, though.
Yeah, no.
Fix him. There's no beignets in Milwaukee.
No, there's cheese curds. Yeah, no, I don't think it works for the Bucks. Like, it's just, he's right. It's just not enough. Especially not getting Steph Castle back in that deal. Like, I would almost force that if I were them, just because the likelihood is Zion is never going to be what we thought he could be.
If he ever is, it will only be for a year. If we ever do get a fully maximized Zion, there's a shelf life because it's going to break.
Yeah.
So if you get it, don't bank on it to happen again.
But that's just not. It's not enough to say, like, this is the centerpiece of our deal, because if he does, if he never has that year, you get 3 half years of Zion. That was worth trading the best player in your franchises. Arguably, well, I guess Wilt Chamberlain played for them, but or Kareem. But I mean, it's in almost the entirety of your franchise's history. Yeah, you just can't do it. But yeah, to me, that deal for the Spurs. You give up draft picks, Keldon, Devin, and Jeremy Sohan. Oh, my God, sign me up tomorrow. But I just don't think it works on the other end.
No. I still think there's something in the woodpile, and anytime a guy like this is out there, continue to look at New York, Chicago, and L.A.
Yeah.
Those are the franchises that always seem to come with the wherewithal and the ability to secure something like this.
And as much as I love Steph Castle, don't get me wrong, if I'm the Spurs, I'm not rushing out to trade him. But if I have a possibility of saying our big three is now Giannis, Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox, that's good enough. That is good enough to be a legitimate title contender.
Yeah, we're close.
But again, would I want to keep Steph? Yeah. But if that's what it took to get Giannis, that's the asking price. You know what I mean?
Foolish not to make a deal for Steph Castle.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd just be dumb not to throw
if I'm I understand if I'm the Bucks, if I ask for Wemby, I'm getting laughed at. I think everybody in the league knows that that's off the table. But if you call and you've got Giannis and you don't leave a conversation with the Spurs without Steph Castle, you're a bad GM.
Yeah, you're not doing your due diligence.
Yes.
And the thing is, Steph Castle is worth a number 1 draft pick, because if you get him, I get to keep one of my number 1s, because he's effectively he's a year old.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to immediately pay him and extend him far before anybody else can. So no,
all you get with Steph Castle is you take the question mark out of a coin flip draft pick. So the coin landed on heads. We know that. We'll take that one. You guys get another coin back in exchange.
And even that isn't enough to make that kind of deal, unless again it's Giannis.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this down the stretch. I say down the stretch. There's still a possibility that
they keep him.
They figure this out.
And I know you have to. And I see don't discount the Clippers. The teams that need the anchors are the ones that I'm looking at. That even though we didn't mention them early on, I think there's teams out there that just need that kind of anchor that are going to offer a ridiculous amount of money and a ridiculous amount of talent, because guys like Giannis only become available once about every 15 years. And if you're not in on the fight, it's going to be a long time before you get a chance like this again. Yeah.
I mean, this is not De'Aaron Fox asking for a trade. This is like a top 5 player in the world asking for it. It's like Luka asking out of Dallas, which he didn't, but it's the equivalent of that. Like that type of a player saying, I want out, doesn't happen very often.
How often do teams like San Antonio get a chance to go make an offer on a guy like that? So everybody's going to be swinging for the fences, and Milwaukee knows it. But on the other side of this, I think the league would prefer that he stay there. So I think that they'll weight some things and make it a little bit easier to say yes. But nothing going to happen until every offer's on the table, and that every offer won't be on the table until after the playoffs are completely done and the draft is complete. So everybody's going to be swinging at the fences until the draft is done, and then the playoffs complete and everybody in the house. Then we'll see what happens.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about college football meeting politics, and it's about to happen. There's about to be apparently. They're in the works with getting back to politicians making decisions on how college football is run.
Good.
Which I think historically we all love when politicians decide how sports should be run. It's our favorite thing because they don't have anything better going on to worry about.
They normally know what they're talking about, too.
Exactly. Politicians, and they really care. They care about the people. They always care about the people, never about themselves, Republican or Democrat. That's the great thing about them. Vic, no, now's not the time to be silly. Politicians love us. They care about us and just us. But we'll talk about the latest with that, which I find very intriguing. We'll also, in the next hour is 9 o'clock. And on a Mellow Mushroom Monday, we always give away a $50 gift card to Mellow Mushroom as well in that hour. So we'll do that next. It is the Morning Huddle right here, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
On your ride to work, it's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson, KTFM Floresville.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radio.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code RADIO for an extra 5% off.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text BAIL to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
You know the Roo Pub is proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles?
It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop SummitRacing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's got my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star Traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. Still have a closure. Vehicle fire, 18-wheeler accident on East 410 on the Access Road. Northbound Riddiman to Eisenhower is still closed. On 410 northbound at Rigsby, this wreck has been moved off to the shoulder. Rolling a bit slowly, 90 eastbound 211 on over to 1604. And a stall at I-10 eastbound Vance Jackson has been moved off a main lane, now off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA Time Saver Traffic.
San Antonio Sports Center.
The NBA playoffs continued last night as the Golden State Warriors exited the Houston Rockets in Game 7, 103-89. The Golden State Warriors were paced by Buddy Hield's 33 points, 9 three-pointers. In Game 1 of the second round of Eastern Conference playoffs, Indiana snuck up and beat Cleveland in Cleveland, 121-112. I'm Rob Thompson for 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
.901 on a Monday. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays. I believe I'd whoop somebody's ass. They said that to me. The president has spoken. I had a great meeting with Nick Saban. Nick Saban, a champion. A guy who's won many times, much like myself, many victories. And he says, NIL's bad for the game, very bad. And I said, you know what, friend, I will take care of it. I will fix college football. I'll fix the footballs. I'll make it where the football is great again, the way it was in the days of Bear Bryant. You remember Bear Bryant? Of course you do. Very great, very great. The president has said he is considering an executive order aimed at greater scrutiny towards NIL deals following a meeting with Nick Saban.
You know, he flew down to Alabama. He gave the graduation speech at Alabama over the weekend.
Alabama, a wonderful state. A lot of great people here in Alabama.
And Saban gave the intro.
Oh, okay. Did that really? Is that true?
That's true. It was Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Flew down to Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa, one of my favorite cities. One of my favorite cities in the country. I almost built a golf resort here, but then I remembered you're all poor. One thing that grosses me out is poor people. I hate it. I hate the poor people. No, you're right. He was there for the commencement address, and I guess he and Nick had a sit-down conversation, and obviously an executive order would still need congressional action, but there has been a landmark case of the House versus NCAA, which has led us to this, and there's clearly a lot of stuff that still needs to be ironed out and fixed in NIL. But the fact that it is now going up to the level of the President of the United States having an issue with it, not ideal. Now, it's one thing for Tommy Tuberville, who is now a politician, to say it, but Nick Saban apparently swings a little bit bigger hammer than Tommy Tuberville. And now, like, would you like to see the government step in and regulate NIL is the question.
No. Nope. But I do want the government to force action from somebody else. I do think that something has to change. And some entity that we don't like, I don't know what that entity is, whether it's the government, the federal government, whether it be a bunch of individual state governments, or it be the NCAA, which we are running from as well, is going to have to step in and fix this. There's somebody, an overarching umbrella is going to have to fix this, or we're going to have 50 different sets of rules.
Yeah, there has to be one massive rule set.
Even worse. So I get that Trump needs to step in, and I hope the very threat that an elected official would step in and do something like that will be enough to stir into action the college presidents to come together and find, all right, let's fix this before somebody else fixes it to their benefit and not to ours.
I don't make threats, Rob. I make promises. I follow through. Man. I don't make threats, friend. If I threaten you, just believe it. It is believe it. It's coming. It's coming. No, I don't like the government to be involved in sports. I don't like the government to be involved in anything, quite frankly, ever. But I do see there is some sort of a need for oversight on this stuff because and I hate to be the guy who's like yelling at a cloud, college football's getting ruined, damn it. It's just never going to be the same. But there really is a path to it being ruined. And, like, that's a real thing. I don't want that to happen. I love college football.
Well, ruined is a big word. I think changed is a definite. But ruined? Really? I mean, we've been saying, does it feel ruined last year?
I don't know. Like the idea that players are going to be changing teams every year, it's not. I don't know. It's just different. You know what I mean?
No,
you're right.
You're right. It's different. I don't know if it's ruined, but it's not what it was, and it can be very aggravating. But with all of that,
and it's funny because like college football fan is general, like especially if you went to the school. College football fan is more diehard for their university than they are for their favorite NFL team.
Far and away, yeah.
You know, because they give money to those people generally, or they have given money to them at some point. So they feel like they really have like they've got skin in the game. Mm-hmm. Whereas I hope by now you all know that the Dallas Cowboys don't care about you. You know what I mean?
They do not care. Now, they care on Sunday afternoons, but for the most part, decisions are not made with you in mind.
But it's funny that a game where there is so much loyalty from fans to the product, there seems to be no loyalty within the product itself. Everything can change on a whim, and I think people don't like that.
That's consider what it was and consider what it is. Used to, the coaches had you hostage. You want to leave? Fine, leave. You can't play anywhere else for a year, and you'll never play in this conference. You know, I'll make sure nobody picks you up in this conference. So, yeah, your life is over if you decide to leave, and I don't want you to leave. Now, the players have every ounce of leverage, every bit of it. There's no the only thing that the football team and the administration of the school have is the NIL.
Yeah.
And even that isn't very much, and they're not even supplying that.
There is literally a case where a guy took NIL money, has not played a game yet, said he got homesick, transferred, and is trying to keep the money.
Yeah.
Like,
It's Arkansas. It's going on at Arkansas.
There has to be I'm with you. I've never been like, oh, these college kids, you can't pay them. But making the market, basically opening the market and saying it's the Wild West was a mistake. There should have been some formatted way of getting these guys some money without just saying free for all. Like everybody was waiting, and then it was like, go!
Well,
and
yeah.
everybody just rushes out into it's.
And as is typical, it broke loose and there was an avalanche. And the first ones there set the rules.
Yeah.
Well, the first ones there got there first because, quite frankly, they're good at cheating. So they set the rules first, and we're all living off the rules that were set by the very best cheaters that were already in place, which is just not to the benefit of everybody else. And the fear of, and it is a legitimate fear unless the president appoints somebody like, and this name has been kicked around more than once, Condoleezza Rice, and there is some kind of blue ribbon committee with those that are in the university structure, former university presidents or something like that, that will step in and go, all right, you guys couldn't do it, but at least we're going to take into everybody else's account, and we're going to form this special commission, whatever it is. The fear is that the president just appoints Joe Schmo off the road and says, all right, you take care of it, and then suddenly there's edicts coming down where there's zero forward thinking.
I'll take care of this myself, Rob. There's no need to bring in Condoleezza Rice. How about let's just call her Con Rice. Delusa. Don't you worry. There's Megan Thee Stallion, then there's Condoleezza. I don't need her. I'll do it myself. Now, Nick Saban, and this is according to the Wall Street Journal, says that he doesn't want NIL elimination. He just wants reform. And here's the other thing. Nick Saban isn't he's not a college football coach anymore. Like, what do you care?
And he left because of this.
Yeah.
And if he had an answer or a fix, I think he would have applied it to his university. He's probably one of the few guys that I'll listen to, but I'm not listening to any of your advice because the very problems are the reason you left.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking to the young coach who's making this thing work. And tell me why it's working for you. I'm talking to Jeff Traylor. How and why are you making this work with limited funds? I want to hear from you. How do I make it better for you? I'm not worried about Texas. I'm not worried about A&M. I'm not worried about Alabama. How is it working for you at UTSA? Because if it works for you, it'll work for Texas.
Well, I will tell you this. If Nick Saban were the head coach at Texas or Ohio State or A&M, one of these schools that had, quite frankly, not only money as the school, but also a wealthy fan base, alumni base, this would be a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Nick Saban took a look around the room at Alabama and said, we got a couple millionaires, but we ain't got it like the way these other teams have it, and that's why I think he got out. He was in a spot, like, as successful as a football program Alabama is, it's still in Alabama. And there are not a lot of billionaires sitting around throwing money at Alabama like they are at Texas or Texas A&M.
But
or
go look at those former pros and the pipeline of that pro money coming back. Nick wasn't broke.
No.
He just wasn't dealing with – he saw what A&M and Texas had and Ohio State and said, I can't keep up with those three. And
But Joe Namath ain't writing a $10 million check for the next quarterback at Alabama.
He has enough. He has enough to continue to recruit, but he just didn't have more. And Saban was used to having more than anybody else. And he got lapped, and he didn't want to fight the fight.
Well, when the playing field was even, when nobody was allowed to pay, Nick Saban was the king of the world. It didn't matter. But then once once money became an object, now suddenly it's like the really, really handsome guy in high school. Who gets all the girls? He's super hot. He's got like a 2.5 GPA. He's and he doesn't. Who knows what he's going to do after school? He might take a year off and then he'll figure it out. Go to community college and then maybe he'll get a job. That guy is less appealing at 30 than he was at 16.
Yep.
Because at 30. the guy who never got laid in high school but now has a job making $250K a year, suddenly he's got access to gals that he didn't when he was in high school. And the hot guy from high school that was the star on the football team is, he's works at Best Buy but not on the Geek Squad. He's one of those guys. Like, he's
not that smart.
No, he's not. He might try to sell you a refrigerator at Best Buy. He's that
or
guy
washer.
now. Yeah. But if you ask him, about the internal workings of said washing machine, he doesn't know. He's got to go talk to the manager. Right. But that guy's not getting that's what Nick Saban was. Nick Saban was suddenly thrown into the real world where money is now an object, and damn, that sucks. It was cool being just the real handsome guy in high school that got all the chicks. It's not that world anymore. But we also, we don't want it to become where oligarchs are now getting the chicks either. We need to find somewhere in the middle. We don't want the Saudis to come and get all the chicks either.
I'm not sure that somewhere in the middle exists. I'm not sure. I've heard tale that it does. I just haven't seen it.
It's either Russian oligarchs and Saudis are coming in and taking all our women, or the hot guy from high school is Spicoli is getting all the chicks. Yeah, great. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, I'm going to give away that Mellow Mushroom gift card, and we'll see what's going on in the world outside of sports. I got to tell you about Carbach Brewing. I had a couple Carbachs up at the Rue Pub. They had Crawford Bach on tap there. My favorite of the everyday drinkers from Carbach. Oh, it was nice and cold and tall. And Jason Minix kept trying to make me order more and more, and I said, no, friend, it's enough for me. It's enough for me. Because Jason's drinking that watered-down beer. I'm drinking a man's beer. Yeah. Carbach's a man's beer. When you drink it, you feel powerful in a way that some beers can never make you feel. And that's what I love about Carbach. They do have something for everybody, though. If you want something lighter, they've got something lighter. The Love Street is their best seller by far. It's the Kolsch-style blonde ale. Eric, their head brewer, literally wrote the book on how to brew Kolsch that is used throughout the industry. It is the benchmark book on how to brew a Kolsch. He literally is the author of that book. And this Love Street is their take on it. Hopadillo's their in-your-face IPA, their flagship IPA. Very good, very flavorful. And right now, you can get the Hopadillo Imperial with almost 10% ABV. That'll get you there in a hurry, friends. Something for everybody in their lineup, and it's all over San Antonio. We saw that during Fiesta. We're seeing it after. So when you're out and about, you're watching these games out at your local sports bar, go ahead and ask your bartender to please make it a Carbach.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star traffic from News Talk 550 KTSA.
Good morning. As you get into your midday commute, we do have an accident on 410 eastbound at Cherry Ridge. This wreck is in the left lane, a little bit of stop and go from Callahan. On 410 on the access road, northbound Rittiman to Eisenhower, still closed with an earlier 18-wheeler accident. It's got you slow from Space Center Drive. And 410 northbound Rigsby, accident now off to the shoulder. I'm Debbie Alcacer, KTSA, Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
You've decided to divorce. I'm attorney Steve Benke. If you're worried about getting the bills paid, childcare, and your divorce, we'll help make it simple, painless, and affordable.
Your future matters. Call the law office of Steve Benke.
Call 210-DIVORCE or go to BenkeLaw.com.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them, and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
At the Institute for Functional Health, we are dedicated to helping you live life fully, playing with your kids, golfing, and feeling great without relying on pills. We're not about treating symptoms temporarily. We're about extending your health span, the years you live in good health. I'm Dr. Torres, and for over a decade, my team has transformed lives by tackling health issues at the root. Tired of medications without real answers? Take control of your health with us. Call 210-468-1891 for a free Discovery Day consultation or visit IFFhealth.com. Improve your health span today.
Evan Cohen here. When the draft clock is ticking, you've got to pick the best talent, regardless of position, to fit your team's needs. Well, if you're hiring for your business, you want to find the best talent for any of your roles. That's why you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology hustles to find qualified candidates for your job immediately. And if you see a standout candidate, ZipRecruiter lets you personally invite them to apply. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Oh, wow, honey, I love it. It's so beautiful and so sparkly.
Just like you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
I'll wear it every day. It goes with everything.
This Mother's Day, wow Mom with spirit-lifting, outfit-making, express-your-love jewelry. Shop jtv.com/mom for wow-worthy and budget-friendly styles.
I'm never taking it off.
Another wow factor? Sign up for JTV Text and get $30 off. If she loves jewelry, she'll love JTV.
You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
All right. Let's do it, baby. Let's give somebody some pizza.
Oh, can you give it to me?
No.
Sounds good.
No, I'm afraid not.
Doesn't it sound good right now?
Does sound good. Mellow Monday.
Some of that beer cheese and that giant pretzel they'll roll out just before the pizza's in.
I went to a place yesterday. I was so annoyed. I'm not going to name the place. It's a place I actually go to pretty regularly. Okay. Usually I only go there to drink beer, but I was with my brother-in-law yesterday. My nephew played a soccer game. Here
Were you
in
up there
San
by
Antonio
me?
Sun. No. I was up by my house, by my place. And he was like, let's go to this place and, we can have a couple beers.
I know where you're talking
and
about.
eat. And they do have really good food. And so we went there, and it's like, I don't know, his game was at noon. We got to the place at like 2:15.
And you were over at like Paul Taylor over there, right? Calabra and 410.
I think ish.
Was it a giant open field with about 25?
Yeah, a bunch of soccer fields.
And you weren't at Northside Stadium? Was there a football stadium?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that's where you were.
No.
Okay.
It's off of Braun Road.
Oh, you're further out. All right.
So we got back up there to the place up by my house, and we sit down, we order some beers, and we're all looking at the food menu, and it's brunch time. And brunch lasts till 3 o'clock. And I'm not a big brunch guy.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Nah. I could knock down some brunch.
I wanted a Reuben sandwich. They had a Reuben on the menu. It looked good.
Haven't had one of those in a minute.
So that sounds good to me. So we all order, and I order the Reuben, and they say, "Oh, that's not available until the dinner menu opens."
That's not a brunchish item.
And I said, "Well, what time does brunch end?" 3. And I look at my phone, and it's 2:35. And I said, I'm just asking for a sandwich. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not asking
hey, we
for
got
liquor.
The meat cutter's not here.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm not
union
asking
thing
you to,
now.
like, bake me a pizza or something. Like, I get
or
it.
alcohol past the time that you're not supposed to have.
And
there's a lot of the kitchen hierarchy, man. Somebody got to cut the meat. Somebody got to get the bread, make the Thousand Island. They got to do all now.
And
3
I
o'clock.
said, all right. And she's like, can I get you something else? I said, no, I'm going to wait till 3
why don't you
o'clock
bring
and
me a
order my
beer
sandwich.
and be back here at 3.
And then at 3 o'clock, when she wasn't there on the spot, what did I do? I saw the manager. I said, hey, I wanted to order this sandwich. I couldn't order it earlier. It's 3 o'clock now. I'd like to order a Reuben. So the manager put it in, and then the gal came over. Do you want me to get you that sandwich? And I was like, oh, don't worry about it, honey.
It's already done.
It's already taken care of.
I've gone over your head. I stepped
I went
on
up to
your
the
shoulder.
top.
Say bye-bye tip.
And there went your tip.
No,
young
unfortunately,
lady.
I can't do that.
Oh, come
young
on.
Missy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teach her a lesson.
You know what? A Reuben sandwich, I have to be in the mood. It's the Thousand Island that gets me.
Yeah.
I like everything else about it. I just
I'll
don't
eat
like
it
the.
anytime.
But for the most part, they
I
do a
like
good one.
I like the Russian dressing
the Russian that's
and
what it is.
mustard. I like both combined.
Too much.
Gotta have the mustard, man.
I like both.
The Russian, it's a sweet flavor. I'm not down with
A
that.
little to it.
I'd prefer the mustard.
All right. But either way, Mellow Mushroom would
And
have
wait
never
till
done
3.
that.
And wait till 3 if you go to this particular establishment.
Yeah, wait till 3. Not Mellow Mushroom though. They'll take care of you. You want a pizza? You want a pizza when they open? You want a pizza before they close? They'll give you a pizza.
I think that's a promise that they can take. Any minute that they're open, they're going to make you a pizza.
They'll make you a pie. Let's go caller number 4. You're going to win a $50 gift card to Mellow Mushroom on a Mellow Mushroom Monday right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I don't know who else is giving out $50 gift cards to Mellow Mushroom every Monday, but if they are, then God bless them. I think we're the only ones. I mean, we're incredibly.
I'm comfortable with the fact that we are.
We're incredibly nice. All right. I always like to talk about what's going on in the world outside of sports in this segment. And the Righteous Gemstones last night, ending the series finale. The ratings, the reviews for it have been phenomenal. The Righteous Gemstones 4th season ended how it began, with a prayer highlighting all the genre dexterity, rhapsodic vulgarity, and indelible performances that made the series a worthy counterpoint to HBO's other shows about uber-wealthy fail children. Danny McBride's faith-based comedy found inner peace before meeting its maker. However, unlike his previous shows, Eastbound and Down and Vice Principals, McBride softened his characters in the final outing, and they say that
did he?
It is the Righteous Gemstones ascends to comedy heaven, one of the greatest comedic series of all time. There are a lot of praise for Righteous Gemstones, and for the performance of the characters as well.
Danny McBride is brilliant,
Oh,
but
he's
the
so
best
good.
character in this is. There's Uncle Baby Billy, but Edie Patterson, Judy Gemstone, has the best lines of any character in that.
By far the best. She was. If you saw Vice Principals, which is also a very funny show, only 2 seasons long. Eastbound and Down is 4. Vice Principals is 2, and then this Righteous Gemstones is 4. So if you just want a quick taste of what Danny McBride does, Vice Principals is a good one. She is a star in that one as well, and she is one of the funniest ladies. And apparently, she's a Texan.
That's good.
I forgot where she was from, but I saw that she was like born and raised and she went to Texas State.
Oh my, she's from Texas City.
So, yeah, she's good old Texas gal. Went to school right here in Central Texas, Edie Patterson did.
Triangle. She's from your part of the world.
But a hilarious woman, and that show, I mean, just a great show, a good ending, which, let's face it, a lot of shows don't end the right way. This one did. Elsewhere in the world, Lady Gaga played a show at Copacabana Beach in Brazil.
And
in front of...
Things could have gotten out of hand.
In front of how many people?
Normally at those Copa beaches, it's 1 million. You know, they can't count as many as they're there. But
an estimated 2.5 million people were in attendance, setting a new record for the highest attended concert by a female in music history.
By a female? So there's a male that drew more than 2.5 million? Or a band?
David Hasselhoff.
Well, of course.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
And it had to have been at Copacabana. I know that the Stones pulled a pretty big crowd there once. And I think Taylor Swift did too.
Well, not as big as this one because she is a female.
I heard that there could have been some kind of attack, that the Brazilian police thwarted a terror attack.
I hadn't heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The largest live music crowd in history is believed Copacabana in Rio. New Year's Eve, 1994, a free concert, 3.5 million attendees.
Stones?
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart.
Brazilians love Rod Stewart.
I put that right up there with Hasselhoff.
Love Rod Stewart.
You know the rumor.
That's
the
funny.
urban legend.
That
They
is
all came to see if it was true.
funny. But other than that, the other top concert. This is now 5th all time. 2 of the top 4. Jean-Michel Jarre, a French composer, performer, and record producer.
Not familiar with his work.
I'm not familiar with him either, but he turned out just around 3.5 million people in Moscow at Moscow State University, and he did 2.5 million for Bastille Day in Paris. Jorge or George Ben, I'm guessing he's Brazilian, so it's probably George Ben, also did Copacabana and had 3 million people there. Madonna did 1.6 at Copacabana. The Stones did 1.5. Jean-Michel Jarre did 1.3 million downtown Houston. It says.
Really?
Who is this masked man? I've never heard of him. He's got like 4 of the top 20 attended concerts in history. He must be like one of those bands that is only good live, like the Grateful Dead or something.
And I'm pretty sure whatever he does is not in English.
I would guess you're right. That seems to be the case. But yeah, 2.5 million people showing up at Brazil to watch Lady Gaga. It was her first concert back after her health scare.
If you were there, and let's say you're one of the 2 million people.
Okay.
Do you think you're there? Or you just think you're in a big crowd? Do you feel like you could even see the stadium?
I don't know, but I imagine they've got speakers set up where you're there.
I guess, but I mean, you're.
What I want to know is what happens when you got to go to the bathroom.
There's that.
I mean, there's no good way if you're in the middle. There's no good way to get there.
You're headed to the beach.
I mean, I think you probably just have to wear. I think you have to wear a diaper.
I don't think they even do that.
You just.
I think we're just dropping trowel. We're just going to town. We walk home and. No, it's a beach town. It's Brazil. Big toilet.
Elon.
Yeah, we had a new city in Texas.
Yeah, Elon wants to turn SpaceX, the launch site, into a city.
They got the vote. They're gonna be,
and the voters said yes.
So what's the name of the town? Please be a symbol.
I think it's Starbase.
It is. It's Starbase.
Yeah. He wants to make it a town. It was 212-6.
Oh, those 6 idiots!
In creating the city of Starbase,
standing in the way of progress.
So only 283 people live there. Those who live within the boundaries of the proposed city were eligible to vote in the election. 2/3 of them work for SpaceX or had already indicated their support. The 3 unopposed people who ran to lead the city also have ties to SpaceX.
Oh yeah. They're going to be all kinds of special rules in Starbase.
Yeah.
Polygamy is going to be legal.
And I don't know.
They're going to have it'll be a little town. It'll be staffed entirely by Musk's children.
Yes.
And the mayor is going to be his oldest son. It'll just pass through.
So I think he becomes the first entrepreneur in modern history to incorporate his hometown basically from his employees.
Well, there was a day with his employees. I remember back Willie Nelson. You ever heard of a little town, Carl's Corner?
No.
Back in the 70s, Willie and the boys decided they were going to form a little town in between Austin and Dallas. And they moved a bunch of homeless folks, a bunch of Winnebagos at Carl's Corner, Texas, and created a small town that is now a truck stop. So there would be a bar in between Dallas and Austin.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So
well played.
Power used for good.
Thank God
Yes.
there's someone to do those things.
Leave it to Willie to do things in the Willie way.
That's right. We need those things. And finally, a lady in Oregon is a hero. A mom had to punch a would-be abductor in the face for trying to abduct her child.
Well, that seems nice.
A man came up, tried to steal her baby at preschool, and she beat him away with her fist. She did say that she briefly left, which anybody who leaves their child laying around unattended always says it was just for a second. She briefly left her 23-month-old daughter outside in a stroller near the side of her home when she stepped inside. Like, that's what I always do. I always push my baby outside into the front yard and then go inside and get all my stuff.
Well, it takes a village. Yeah. So you're going to let the neighbors take care of the kid.
She said she was inside her house for less than a minute, but when she came back out, her child was gone, and she ran out onto the street where she saw a man pushing her daughter's stroller down the sidewalk. She caught him and punched him in the face. She said, I decked him in the face and said, I'm calling the cops, and he ran away.
Well, he's still saving the kid.
Now he's still on the loose. Yeah. This is one of those things like, well, what if I bust the window out of a car where there's a baby inside and it's hot outside? It's 88 degrees and the baby's melting. Who's the criminal there?
Not you.
Not me. So I don't know. I don't know what the weather was like in Portland on this day. But police described the suspect as a Caucasian male in his 50s. Good luck finding one of those guys in Portland, Oregon.
Slightly gray, 5'11".
Scraggly beard. I'm guessing, this is just a guess, I bet he was wearing a hoodie.
Probably a hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a hoodie.
Got his Air Dad Nikes on.
Yep, probably wearing a hoodie. But yeah, so she saved the baby though, and that's how the story ended with saving the baby.
Thank God she was only gone 1 minute, because any longer.
It started with neglect, and then it was rescued by her heroism.
Only 1 minute.
All right. Chris said he finally tried Mellow Mushroom. They were delicious.
Yes.
Oh, it is a good place, man.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We wouldn't send you someplace we wouldn't go.
I ain't sending you some bummy ass pizza place. This is a good. I go there all the time. It's the most eaten pizza in the Hoffman house. Nice. And that's a house that eats a lot of pizza right now. I don't cook.
Have you ever cooked?
I cook.
Oh, wait. No, you made cookies.
Yeah, I do. I bake and I make stuff on the grill. Like I smoke meat, but I don't have a way to smoke meat right now.
Right.
5 weeks, baby.
Otherwise, I can throw. I can make spaghetti and I can throw together a casserole. But like, no, I don't. I'm not really a chef. All right. Let's hit our last break of the day, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show the way we always do. We got a lot to look forward to. The Daily Lines coming up next. Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
You dressed up for work.
Well, I knew we had some special guests.
Special?
They're special, both of them, right?
The people from Ken's said, hey, can we come do an interview with you? Vinny Bencetta, Jason Eggleston in studio with us.
Well, Vinny, thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate that.
See you guys.
I'm your first. I feel special.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Your marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Hey San Antonio, this is Kelly Finglass, Senior Director of the world-famous Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. Don't miss your chance to see our all-new theater production, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders on Tour. A night of dazzling performances, electrifying dance routines, a Q&A session, and even a live audition. We're coming to you for one night only, May 25th at the Majestic Theater. Tickets are limited, so go to DallasCowboysCheerleaders.com/tour to learn more today.
Listen up, San Antonio. At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can get college credit for the stripes you've earned. Turn your military rank into college credit to save time and money on an online degree. Eligible enlisted service members and previously enlisted veterans may receive up to 12 credits for select undergraduate courses based on their rank, and up to 90 credits in total for prior learning, military experience, and training. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu/SATX.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And your quiet night on the patio, that's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Hi, this is Joe Reinagle. You're listening to the home of the Texas Rangers, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
All right. We're playing the hits here on 94.1. Let's get it started with a little Def. Rocket Man. Actually, we'll just do what we always do at this time in the show. We'll take a look at the daily lines.
It's the Morning Huddle's look at the daily lines with AJ and Rob on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You covered, yeah!
A couple of massive upsets happened this weekend in the world of combat sports. Ryan Garcia losing to Rolly Romero.
Dude.
Didn't have that on my bingo card.
He needed that,
And
man.
Ryan Garcia, like, it was so, his post-fight press conference was like, I was in like a fog.
What?
The whole time. I was just, it's like, it just didn't feel like I was there.
Weed's legal in New York.
What? And then Bo Nickel lost his first MMA fight.
Well, did he get hurt?
He got hurt with a knee to the body. He got TKO'd in the second round. But the main event, he was in the co-main event. The main event, Davison Figueiredo was a former champion. His knee popped, and they had to stop the fight on that. But yeah, Bo Nickel lost his first fight as well as a pretty big favorite. So,
did you have anything on the Derby?
I did not.
The favorite journalist came in second. So
So your box, if you just done the you went too far though, trying to get a third horse. Didn't
I boxed too much, yes, and that wasn't even close.
You just wanted the exacta.
I went superfecta and didn't do nothing.
Damn it!
And went the wrong direction. So it goes.
Yeah. The two favorites ran 2-1 at the Kentucky Derby for those who missed that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these games. In the NBA tonight, the Boston Celtics 9-point favorites hosting the Knicks.
You know, last night, the first game of the round 2, both teams were, Indiana ran past Cleveland, but both teams executed fairly well. Cleveland didn't shoot very well, but they executed. I'm looking for precision from Boston tonight, and I expect to get it. So where are we sitting, 4.5?
9.
9? See, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot, but I don't know if it's too much, though. That's too much in game 1.
Okay. Yeah, I with the Boston one, I'm not sure. I do like the Thunder to get it done tonight. I think the Thunder come out and just smack this team. The Thunder are 9.5-point favorites over the Nuggets. I just think the Nuggets had to play a game 7. Now they got to do a quick turnaround, get on the road. I think the Thunder may just lay it on them tonight. Now here's the question, though. Let's talk about the series markets for a minute. What do you think the number is on Boston to win the series with the Knicks?
5.5.
The price minus what? What kind of a favorite do you think they are?
They're not prohibitive. 150, 160,
minus 800.
Dude, if you I think they're a favorite, but my God.
The Thunder minus 700 to win the series against the Nuggets.
I have to put money on the Knicks now.
You get plus 550 back. If the Knicks win the series, you get plus 550 on your money.
$10? Why not?
$10 will win you 55. How about this? The Cavaliers now down 0-1 are still minus 210 favorites to win the series.
I think Garland's going to play a big role. I think they've been reading their press and got a little fat and happy, and they were celebrating their defensive player of the year and got smacked in the face in the first quarter and never could get themselves going at home. It was as bad a home loss as you're going to see. I'll tell you that.
Now, here's an intriguing one. Minnesota and the Warriors. What do you think the price is?
Wow. The way the Warriors have played, I know it's dropped. I still like Minnesota. I'm going to hang it at 200, 250.
Minus 175, the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
This is the first time in the NBA's history that we have a round 2 matchup between a 6 and a 7 seed. Has never happened before. The 2 and the 3 seed losing in the first round of the playoffs.
Absolutely random. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I guess that's good for basketball. I guess I should be happy with this.
Yeah, and the 4 seed was in a game 7, the Nuggets. So it was almost the 5, 6, and 7 seeds remaining against the 1 seed. But yeah.
They're so evenly matched. It's not surprising. I mean, they're all separated by like 2 games anyway. So
they're all going to get their ass kicked by the Thunder. I think. I just think that team is so good. Let's go to the NHL tonight. Only 1 game on the ice. The Florida Panthers take their show up north. They are minus 125 road favorites in Toronto. I know you love that goalie. The total's 5.5 if you want to back just the goalie. You think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
I'm going to see what I can get on him on
5.5.
daily fantasy. On
you probably can't get him to get in a fight. That's probably not something you're allowed to do. But in the series markets, the Panthers minus 170. Maple Leafs bring back plus 145. The Oilers, slight favorites over the Golden Knights. Minus 115 are the Oilers. Minus 105 are the Knights. Capitals minus 160, the Hurricanes minus 160 favorites in the series over the Capitals, as are the Stars minus 160 favorites against the Jets. Surprised to see Vegas as a dog, even though it's kind of weird because game 1, which, it's a 4 of 7, 4 of them will be in Vegas, and the Knights are a minus 130 favorite. I don't understand why the series price they would be underdogs when they're going to get 4 home games and the Oilers will get 3. But that's out of my pay grade. But I am going to put a little wager on the Knights to win the series at minus 105. Just feels like good value to me.
Yeah, I don't understand the how is that possible?
I don't get it. I mean, because you assume it's not like the goalies are going to change,
right?
So barring injury, it's not going to be far off from minus 130 every game that they're in Vegas, and I'm guessing Edmonton will be slightly favored in their home games too, which means that in the series, a 7-game series, you would slightly favor the home team. So I do think there's some value in that if you're just hunting for value numbers. In Major League Baseball, the Dodgers sent a made-up person to the mound today, Ben Kasparius, is going to Miami to take on the Marlins. Sandy Alcantara goes for the Marlins.
Only LA could do that, and we go, oh, well, they're going to win anyway.
Well, yeah, they're still a minus 205 favorite, so big deal. They got a made-up person pitching. It happens.
Another day.
Luis Ortiz goes for the Guardians. Jake Irvin for the Nationals. The Guardians minus 120 favorites. Nick Pivetta going for the Padres. Carlos Rodon goes for the Yanks. Yankees minus 155. Brady Singer for the Reds. He's at Atlanta. A.J. Smith-Shawver minus 150 are the Braves at home. Shane Smith goes for the White Sox, the only guy that ever gives them a chance to win baseball games. Although, again, White Sox won a game yesterday against the Astros.
And there's no way they
What are the odds they do it 2 in a row?
All in on the Stros, baby.
Well, it's the Royals today.
Royals?
They switched the series.
Damn it.
But the Royals with Cole Reagans minus 245 favorites. So expected to get right back to their White Sox ways. Landon Roop goes for the Giants. They're at Chicago to take on the Cubs. Matthew Boyd for the Cubs. Cubs minus 160. Ronel Blanco goes for the Astros. They're on the road in Milwaukee. Tobias Myers for the Brew Crew. Brewers minus 115 favorites. Carmen Mlodzinski and the Pittsburgh Pirates plus 115 in St. Louis. Miles Michaelis going for the Redbirds. Griffin Canning goes for the Mets. They are minus 105 taking on the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks minus 120 coming back with Ryan Nelson on the hill. And then Bryce Miller goes for the Mariners. Luis Severino for the Sacramento A's in Sacramento. It's a dead pick'em. So there you go. There is your Major League Baseball for the day as well. Whew.
Did you see Katie Ledecky broke another world record yesterday?
No.
9-year-old world record in the 800-meter freestyle.
Okay.
Respect. I mean, she just keeps on going. I don't know when your clock hits midnight when you're a swimmer, but she just continues to dominate. What is she, about 30?
Yeah, she's no youngster anymore. Well, the same with like Michael Phelps when he was doing it. It's like, wow, what do you do? I did want to play these 2 clips. One is from Steve Kerr, and the other one's going to be for Brian Windhorst. Maybe give Spurs a little bit of warm fuzzies before we hit the road. Let me see if I can get it here. Oh, look how I'm doing it.
Here we go.
I'm doing it.
It's happening.
I just want to say thank you to Pop and to the Spurs organization for everything that they meant to me in my career. I know this is a pretty emotional day for the Spurs. It is for the entire NBA. The number of people Pop has influenced, the number of coaches in his coaching tree, it's just incredible. Pop is one of the most important people in my life for many, many reasons, and most of them go way beyond basketball. It's a sad day. It's also an encouraging day, I think, because I think this is a natural transition for him organizationally to move into his next role. I think it also gives him the space and the time that he needs, to recover from the health issues. So I've got a lot of mixed emotions today, mainly just my love for Pop, my empathy for him, for what he's gone through, for the Spurs organization, all of the above. And it's a very, very emotional day for everybody involved. So thank you, Pop. I'll take the shirt off after. Love you, and we'll see you soon.
Here's Kawhi Leonard talking about what Pop meant to him.
He had a phenomenal career. He coached till pretty much he couldn't, in a sense. So it shows how much dedication he had to the game, how much he loved the game, and how much he gave to the game. And, I appreciate everything he's done for me, coming into the league. He helped build my foundation and showed me how to win. So want to congratulate him on his career, but also just stay healthy.
And finally, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Brian Windhorst, his comments about where the Spurs are as an organization with Pop leaving.
One of the things I think that you can say, not only did he lead them to 5 championships and establish a culture that is just lasting well beyond his time as coach, he left this organization in a beautiful place from the head coaching position, from where he picked it up to where he left it off. This is one of the dream jobs in all of American sports right now, considering where things are. And Greg Popovich really put Mitch Johnson in a great position to succeed going forward.
You agree with that? That last?
I think he did a great dream job. That's debatable, but
I mean, do you think that Pop leaves the Spurs in a great situation, organization?
Well, I think the plan was to coach until the end of next year, and if we put in, you say, what do you want Pop to leave? Well, I want him to leave with a team in place, and he's got 2 consecutive Rookies of the Year and an All-Star in place that we didn't have. We want to lead with draft picks. We got lots of draft picks in place. We want to have some money in the bank. We got that. We're in the process, we hope, of getting everything built. And you could be, I mean, there's not a lot of places where the future is as bright as it appears to be, though a lot of work needs to be done. And you'll never play nor coach in a more friendly environment. The only friendlier environments you'll ever coach or play in the United States are in college towns. You get treated in San Antonio like you're a college hero.
Yeah.
And for that, there is no better place to be.
All right. Well, our best of luck to Pop. Best wishes to him. Hope that, again, it's good that he's prioritizing his health. I think you and I said that from the beginning. That should be the priority.
I joked about a promotion. He's already been the president of this organization. He's just he's given up one of his jobs, and he's still going to be around. Don't forget it. We still see Timmy at practice, and Manu's always at practice, and Becky seems to be hanging around too. One thing about Spurs is they don't go very far. They stay in our orbit.
And he still might be an iPad robot. We don't know.
I hope so.
That's still a possibility on the sideline for games, just giving his instructions via the interwebs.
What he needs to do is some TV work. We need him sitting on a panel.
Depends on how that stroke worked out. I don't think that's might not be the best idea. That does it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again, friends. The Blitz, Jason Minix, Joe Reinagle, they come up at 2 o'clock. They'll take you home this afternoon. Give them a listen if you haven't yet. Do a good job. Vic, good job today. We will see you guys tomorrow.